What's good, my dudes? So, I'll be doing some theory crafting, and I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest. It kind of stemmed from the raid testing, but it's almost like a new way to play Conduit the Celestials, and it all kind of stems to do with all the changes that they've done through the past couple of weeks. So it's pretty exciting. I'll go over it in a couple of minutes, just while we warm up. What's up, Frosty? But yeah, I'm really excited about this, and there's a good argument for Conduit the Celestials being our best in the slot hero talent for raiding next tier. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's also going to hold up pretty well in Mythic Plus, I think. The counter argument to that is going to be that potentially Shadow Pan with Crackling Jade Lightning is maybe just better in Mythic Plus, but for raiding, Celestial Conduit just seems to be having the edge at the moment, especially with some changes to how you'd actually play it. What if I told you that you wouldn't pop Conduit the Celestials in your opener? Yeah, weird, right? Well, maybe not quite not in your opener, but not in the first, like, 10, 12 seconds of an opener, which sounds bizarre, right? You think you want to pop that ability as soon as possible. But yeah, there's a few reasons for it that I'll go over. Does Windwalker still have the talent that makes Tiger Palm jump you to the target? No, they got rid of that at the end of Dragonflight, actually. Well, actually, in fact, in Dragonflight, they kind of split it. So in the first tier, they had it, like, permanently, and you had to take it all the time. And enough Windwalkers complain that the Blizzard basically gave you an option between that and not dashing on the same talent node, which basically every Windwalker then took, you know, because the dash... I don't know if you played it with the dash, but the amount of times that killed people, because you'd have to press Tiger Palm, right? But sometimes you're trying to reposition yourself backwards away from a like AoE or something, and it would just dash you straight back in. But no, they completely removed that. The main like concept of that talent was that it increased your crit chance on any new target that you Tiger Palmed. I think it was every minute or so. Yeah, that was okay, but there was a lot of feedback from Windwalkers that they didn't really like it that much, and to be honest, I didn't really like it either, because it meant that you had to constantly tab target all the time. Like, so besides the fact you'd have to do that anyway for Mark of the Crane, you pretty much had to do that in Mythic Plus all the time. Constant tab targeting to make sure that you got like the crit buff on different ads and stuff. It kind of felt really bad to play. So yeah, no longer a thing is the TLDR on that one. Oh, what did you play in Season 1? Or did you not play in Season 1? Yeah, Dragonflight was interesting for talents. I'm glad that they redid our talents tree. It looks a lot different to what we have now. What feels weird about Windwalker? Don't say that. I think what you mean to say is Windwalker feels amazing. Alright, I think what I'll do is I'll kind of go over this Celestial of the Conduit opener change, which is, yeah, it's quite interesting. It'll be kind of the same for Mythic Plus and for single target as well, and it all kind of stems to do with this massive, what is it? This buff here. Is it this one? Where is it? Conduit the Celestials. It's the fact that... Where is it? Which one of these is it? Here. The fact that Heart of the Jade Serpent now triggers every time you cast Strike of the Windlord. So this change was quite big, and it only came out about a week ago or so, the 15th, so 10 days ago. So we've had a little bit of a mess around. Other Windwalkers have had a mess around with it as well, but it's actually a massive fundamental change to how you play Conduit the Celestials. And the main reason for that is that you don't want to have Strike of the Windlord cast at the same time that you cast Celestial Conduit. What do I mean by that? Well, it's all to do with this buff. So you might notice I have a brand new icon on my screen, this little green thing here. Don't worry about it too much, but what I'll show, when I cast Strike of the Windlord, it'll proc and it'll show that I've got the Heart of the Jade Serpent buff, which basically is the buff that gives you massive cooldowns on all of your DPS abilities. So Slicing Wind, Rising Sun Kick, Fists of Fury, all of your key like abilities that you want cooldown reduction on, it gives it, and it also makes your Fists of Fury have like a shorter channel time. So why don't you want them overlapping? Well, the main reason for that is that they both provide this buff, and if you overlap them, then you're kind of missing out on about like 6 seconds of cooldown reduction, which is quite a lot. So how does this work in the opener then? Well, when I was testing on Raid, what I was tending to doing was popping Celestial Conduit at the start of pull. Makes sense, you know, you do your standard like single target opener and then Celestial Conduit. Then I'd wait about 5 seconds and then I'd press Strike of the Windlord, and that way you manage to get your 2 full buffs. However, it's not quite optimal to do that. It makes sense to instead cast Strike of the Windlord first, wait those 6 seconds whilst you use all your abilities, and then Celestial Conduit. So you wouldn't be Celestial conduiting until about like maybe 12 seconds into your opener, which seems kind of bizarre. But the main reason for that is that the cooldown reduction also works on Strike of the Windlord. So you'd Strike of the Windlord to get the cooldown buff, pop all of your abilities, get massive cooldown reduction on that, Conduit the Celestial to get the massive cooldown buff, pop all of your abilities again, and go absolutely ham. And then by the time you finish that buff, you also then get to Strike of the Windlord again and get your massive cooldown buff. So what I'm trying to say is the amount of burst that we have through Conduit of the Celestial and Heart of the Jade Serpent going into next tier is actually going to be insane. And it's pushing me into the idea that Windwalker might be meta. Don't quote me on that. Nobody clip that. But, like, genuinely, it's really, really good. Like, the amount of damage you can do in your burst window is insane. So it makes sense to probably visually show how this works. I spaz out in Season 1 every expansion and play all tunes to see new builds and whatnot. Season 2 I have a true main. Oh no, you're alright. You can say it's weird. Windwalker is weird. Yeah, I just think the jump to the target thing was a little bit, like, really awkward for a lot of players. I remember... I don't remember the boss exactly that I found it to be the most detrimental. But I remember... Where is he? Dragonfly. It was Vault of the Incarnates, and it was Korog Grimtosum, and you have to kite this boss backwards, like on Mythic, to avoid, like, swirlies and stuff. But obviously you need to press Tiger Palm. So if you walk too far backwards and Tiger Palm, you jump straight back into a swirly. And this is the boss that I really realized that I hated that talent. Absolutely hated that talent. So let me get off this mount. Let me show you how this works. We'll kind of play it. I want to try play it slow, but it kind of doesn't work playing it slow. So I'll try walk through how this works with like a single target opener. What we'll do for this instance is we'll take off Slicing Winds to make it a little bit simpler. Oh, I forgot to mention also, it really works because of Gale Force as well. Yeah, kind of an important factor that I missed out on. The other reason why you want to Strike the Windlord first is because you get the cooldown reduction, obviously, amazing. But then you also get the Gale Force buff for 10 seconds. So within those 10 seconds, you'll be Conduit the Celestialing, as well as using all your massive like cooldowns on super low CDs. So the idea is that then you get a massive Gale Force amount of damage as well every time you get your burst window. So it's one of the arguments as well to not Conduit first, because otherwise you'll be missing out on the Gale Force damage. It all kind of adds up together. So when would you want to trinket for this? I don't know. See, I'm still in the theory craft stage of all of this. I think the perfect time to trinket with something like House of Cards would be as you cast Strike of the Windlord. The main reason for that is it's 15 seconds, which means you should get your full 2 cooldown buffs. Yeah, full 2 cooldown windows basically during this entire House of Cards. But I mean, this is all like still in the works, I suppose. But it's a really cool concept of how to play Celestial Conduit. So if we're going single target, we'll just play it like standard single target opener. So now you Strike of the Windlord, you've got this cooldown rolling, so Fast Fist of Fury. And you almost don't want to be Tiger Palming that much. So now we Celestial Conduit. We get the buff again. And you can see we're just popping all of our like chi abilities here. It's kind of crazy. So that buff just ran out, but now you can see that Strike of the Windlord's only on like a 5-second cooldown at this point, so you've basically reduced it massively. And then you basically go again. You know what I mean? So you're getting like 3 Heart of the Jade buffs in like really short duration. And you do this like every time you'd have Celestial Conduit up, more or less. So the damage isn't like crazy on this because there's no buffs or anything, but last night in PTR testing I was getting about... You could get upwards of like 4 million damage, right, on pull, which is insane to think about when our item level was scaled down to 644, which is just about more than you have in Mythic right now. Like 4 million damage, single target opener. That's almost like enhancement shaman levels, right? So it's really good. But if you like look at the damage breakdown here, you can see like Gale Force, you're managing to get loads of damage off of that. If you Celestial Conduit first, you'd lose all this Gale Force damage. You'd end up having maybe like half of it at push, because the majority of it's going to come from your Celestial Conduit. So it is a really interesting idea of how you do the opener, and it kind of changes things up a bit. So that will be interesting to see how that works a bit more. In terms of Shadow Pan, bad news, guys. It doesn't look like changing anything. It looks like single target's going to be the exact same, and AoE is going to be the exact same, which I suppose is good in this way that like you don't have to relearn Shadow Pan and Celestial Conduit. The only difference is that you'd potentially be like Crackling Jade Lightning every so often, but like opener-wise and priority-wise, it's all going to be about the same. The main difference with what's it called? Shadow Pan is actually that we're going to not be running. Oh, let me change talents. Come on, don't be like that. Basically, you're not going to be running Strike of the Windlord anymore with Shadow Pan. So, besides the rotation kind of staying the same, you're also losing an ability. The only thing you really change it for is Crackling Jade Lightning. So, it's going to be simpler. So if you like simplicity, Shadow Pan's going to feel real nice. But, oh, no, that's not the right one. It is this one. So you can see this entire right side of this tree is now grayed out. And the main reason for that is that if you're running this in Mythic Plus, it's better to go fully into Blackout Kick and into like Rising Sun Kick. This sort of single target. I say single target in a way that like you're going to do well on bosses in M+, as well as like AoE, because obviously you still got your AoE. Blackout Kick does AoE. But you're kind of basically losing Strike of the Windlord, which you might think is a bad thing. Like, this is a massive node, isn't it? But Strike of the Windlord doesn't do that much damage. The biggest loss from this entire side of the tree would be Gale Force. Like, a lot of damage comes from Gale Force in M+. You could easily be about 6% of your damage overall. 4% maybe. Maybe 6 is pushing it a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of really cool. It's really cool that these new builds are rising. So this is like the key one at the moment for Shadow Pan. And then the one I just showed you, this is going to be the main one that's looking like for Conduit of the Celestials. I've seen people take out Zuin, whatever you want to call him, for transfer of power. I understand why, because Fist of Fury is by far our strongest ability, just because of tier set and damage scaling. Like overall in a key or a raid, Fist of Fury is probably going to be top by a mile. But the only downside with this is that you're kind of losing that 1 minute 30 lineup. It kind of feels a little bit awkward, so you're kind of almost like having to hold Celestial Conduit a bit more, and then it's like, well, why am I holding my strongest ability? I haven't really tested it like that. I might give it a go today. I'm more on the side of running it like this, so you do get the 1 minute cooldowns. But yeah, so these two icons on the screen, basically this one's for Heart of the Jade Serpent, and this one's for Slicing Winds. This is not how I'm going to have them on live. It's just because I cannot find any other way to get these icons to show up in a nice place that I can actually visually see. So yeah, I think we'll try out some dungeons. So basically, all 3 legacy dungeons are out today. We've got Motherlode, we've got Theatre of Pain, and we have Operation Mechagon. I'm not sure which side of Operation Mechagon it is. I'm going to say it's the second side because the king's there. I really didn't do Operation. I didn't play much of BFA, but if the king's there, I imagine he's probably the final boss, right? So the only dungeon I'm really not that familiar with is Operation Mechagon. I barely did it. Maybe did it once or twice. Theatre of Pain, I remember running a fair bit. I couldn't tell you what any of these bosses do. And the same with the Motherlode. I would have run it loads, but no idea what's going on here. So it's going to be a little bit of a trying to remember how these dungeons work. So it's going to be fun, but also testing out these builds. And I think it makes sense to try out this new Conduit of the Celestials build first, because it's so fun. Like, the cooldown and everything is just really, really fun. 10 Motherlode, not Theatre. So, fair enough. I like how they keyed it up as Theatre of Pain. It's Motherlode, not Theatre though, guys. Yeah, it's a really, really cool concept. I'm going to, just while we wait for a group to form, I'm going to kind of test out this opener again in like AoE, and you can see how much damage it actually does. I think the biggest issue that people are going to find is trying to press their like Whirling Dragon Punch before you have a chance, but like before these two come off cooldown, because you have that like 1 second grace period, which is great. But the biggest issue is because your cooldown's so fast, it's almost like really difficult to like press it before, like if you're channeling a cast or something, Rising Sun Kick comes up, you kind of get a little bit stuffed. But that might just be because I'm playing like 150 ping, so it's a little bit harder to do that. So it might not be too bad on live. How do I get off this mount? My keybinds suck. Oof, mech. Please don't say that. It can't be that bad, right? I think I always heard that people hated the first part of Operation Mechagon first. The second part wasn't as bad, but I don't know. So AoE, I imagine it'll be something like this. Double Tiger Palm. And then you get this kicked off. You could potentially Slicing Winds earlier than that. So then you finish your first heart buff, you go straight into your second, and you can see like 5 million damage burst. It's crazy. And then you get Strike of the Windlord again, and suddenly you're absolutely jumping off the moon, or your cooldowns are coming back up. Like, this build's gonna go crazy. I don't want to say it's gonna get nerfed, but like, now that we're actually like kind of realizing how you can optimize this like really, really well, it's kind of nuts. Because what's my item level at the moment on this? It's only 659, which is okay. It's relatively high, but I didn't play that perfectly. And you can see Slicing Winds, you're getting so much damage out of. Gale Force, you're gonna get that much damage. About 6% sounds about right. You're probably about 5 if you drop it. Yeah, it's looking really good. So if you're a Celestial Conduit enjoyer, or want a little bit more action than Shadowpan, it's looking good, guys. Looking a little bit spicier than it was before, I'll be honest. Shadowpan's still going to be good. Like, it's still going to be a staple, passive, flurry strikes, you know, it's still, like, is good. But from the talk of the town, and by the talk of the town, I mean, like, some of the top Windwalker players, it does look like Celestial Conduit is coming out and Raid on top. And I noticed that as well on my PTR testing. Like, Shadowpan seemed alright, but, like, the burst that Celestial Conduit could do, and the constant uptime you have on this, like, reduced cooldown buff now is just... it's kind of crazy. I'll be honest, a little bit crazy. Mech plus 20s, bro. I have legit anxiety thinking about it. Oh, no. I know that they nerfed some stuff from these legacy dungeons. I think it was mostly tank busters and stuff, so... I don't really know what anything does in these. It's going to be a little bit of a cluster. My only hope is that... it was Motherload, wasn't it? Not Theatre of Pain. My only hope is that they, the scaling's not too bad. There was a little bit of a scaling issue last time I did dungeons. I mean, there's a little bit of a scaling issue when I did PTR raiding the other night. Well, actually, that was more of a bug issue. Blizzard just, like, absolutely cooked their bosses. That was actually horrendous. So hopefully it's not too bad, and we can get some good dungeon runs in, and rather than progging dungeons, it's actually playing the dungeons, if that makes sense. I have no idea what any of these pings mean. And I'm not even going to pretend that I do. I guess he wants us to sneak. We're going sneaky beaky mode. So ideally we get a nice big first pull, and I can like try test out some damage. 5 targets is going to be perfect. Anything more, we kind of, you know, scale poorly, but 5 targets will be like the perfect amount of damage. I don't know whose key this is. It looks like it's that dude's. Alright, now it's time to make sure I actually actually do this opener correctly. Because I've barely done it. I did it maybe once or twice in the PTR testing. But like there's a fair bit to have to memorize, because you've got to memorize your entire Strike of the Windlord opener at the start, and then you've got to kind of memorize your Celestial Conduit opener that follows that. Like it's alright to do it in that order, but there'll definitely be a min-maxing. Like, do you press Fist of Fury? Can you get 2 Fist of Furies off? Can you Slicing Winds at this exact time? So there's gonna be a bit of like tweaking to how this opener works, but it's going to be a lot more, it's going to be a bit more complex than the current one, which is like, you know, Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Swan, Storm, Earth and Fire, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Celestial Conduit, which That does sound a little bit complicated, but it's really not. Like, it's basically the exact same as Shadow Pam. This is gonna be crazy. Sneaky beaky. Okay, we pulled. Rest in peace, us. Thanks, Ted. Rest in peace, this group. Alright, I'm just not gonna pop anything. Absolutely no point popping anything there. Otherwise, we'll just go again. I don't like how they all one-shot us, though. That seems a little bit cooked, right? Like, tank got one shot. That doesn't sound correct. That makes me a little bit scared about scaling. So that got pulled again. Oh, I was doing 6 million there, and then I got CC'd. No. I need to change my detail bars as well. They're set up for raiding, not M+. I apologize. So Windwalker feels more competitive now? I'd definitely say so. It feels a lot, like, stronger than it did. It feels like you're... I mean, you always had buttons to press anyway, but it feels like even crazier now. I'd definitely say it's going to be more competitive. Just the fact that you constantly get cooldown reduction, so all your big, like, cooldown abilities are pretty much always up, always off cooldown. I don't know what this does. Okay. And how does Slicing Winds feel? Slicing Winds feels alright in Mythic Plus. I didn't like it really in Raid. I think that a lot of the Raid encounters have, like, a lot of ads that are spread out. It feels like kind of really awkward to get anything going with Slicing Winds. I think if you have an AoE boss, for instance, it probably is going to be more like a... either a Crackling Jade Lightning angle, or just a none of those at all, and you just go single target, which is pretty much AoE at this point, to be honest. I'd argue that our single targets are our AoE, and our AoE is our single target going into this tier. Kind of similar to tier 2 of Dragonflight. Hated that it was so easy to make a mistake, and that it felt like you had nothing to do but wait a while. Yeah, that happened a lot as well in, yeah, it happens a fair bit in Season 1. Maybe not even, like, making a mistake, but, like, just the fact that you could, like, pop all your cooldowns, and then, like, once you finish being hasted off of, like, Zuin and all that stuff, you'd end up, like, running out of chi, and you have a fair bit of downtime, which is semi-natural for Windwalker, but it always feels bad to have nothing to press whilst you're waiting for energy, you got no chi. And, like, that did happen a fair bit. It's never fun to not be pressing buttons, right? So, I feel like I'm never... not press buttons with this? Is that how I wanted that to come out? You know what I mean. I feel like you're always pressing buttons. Alright, let's try do a big one here. I need to try and make sure I press House of Cards at the right time. I have no idea what any of these trash packs do. Alright, so far so good. Yeah, like, look at that. 10 million damage. I mean, we did get wiped out, but it's crazy the amount of burst that you do. I think the only issue that we're going to find is one that I've noticed people talking about, is that we have a lot of channels, right? We have Fist of Fury, and now we're going to have Conduit of the Celestials, even Crackling Jade Lightning. You don't want to be, like, interrupting or using your CC during those channels, right? Because then you're going to lose a lot of damage as Windwalker. And as we look like we're going to be more of, like, a channeling build, it kind of feels bad. Like, in that opener, for instance, when are you going to find time to really, like, AoE kick and stuff? I mean, you're going to have to, but it's going to feel awful to do. So I think that's going to be the one big downside of having to channel so much, is that trying to find CC windows is going to be really awkward. Like, you don't, like, because we're going to have such massive cooldown reduction, you don't want to be CCing. It sounds bad, right? Like, but you don't. You want someone else to be CCing for you. Or, like, kicking or interrupting. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the one slight issue. Because if you end up spending, like, a lot of your CC cooldown reduction period interrupting, paralysing, you know, whatever, it's gonna feel bad. Oh, please don't let me die. What am I dying to? I don't even know what I'm dying to. What? Was I just killing myself? Did he have, like, an electric shield on or something? Yeah, charged shield. Strikes the primary target with an electrified shield. Oh, I think it just is natural damage, actually. I think I just wasn't being healed enough. Or, I don't think it's reflected damage. I was just dying. Also, this is definitely going to be a dungeon that you want to run Detox in. I'm not currently running it because I don't have it. Oh, I am currently running it. I don't have it keybound then. Which is probably worse. Okay. Why don't I have that keybound? It's down here. Let's, I hate how I have to do keybounds on PTR. It feels awful. Like, usually you just slash KB, right? For some reason, PTR does not let me do that. So I have to go into the options, select it. Tiny gripe, but a little bit tedious. If you want to get back into Windwalker again, I'd say now is a really good time to do it. If nothing's really changed, like if we kind of keep exactly how we are right now from PTR testing, it's going to feel really fun. You're going to have tons of variety in builds that you go. Like, I'm on the roof. Some builds are going to obviously be a little bit worse than others, but a lot of the time, like, a lot of players don't mind that. Like, a lot of people still played Celestial Conduit, even though it wasn't, like, the best in Mythic Plus, because at the end of the day, if you're not pushing, like, 14s, 15s, 16s, then who cares? Play what you want. You know, in a lot of M+, I don't push massive keys. I'm more of a Mythic Raider sort of thing, so obviously I'll be running best builds there and stuff. But in M+, I like playing Celestial Conduit. It wasn't as good as it could be, obviously, but it always felt really fun to play. First is just insane, guys. Oh yeah, I forgot to say as well, the fact that they changed ordered elements also helps a massive amount. Especially in AoE for Conduit of the Celestial. The big reason for that... Sorry, I'm trying to think at the same time. The main reason for that is that you now no longer have to Rising Sun Kick to get the Chi cooldown on all your abilities. It's just naturally from the talent now. Why is this good? Well, it means, like, you can instantly press Storm Earth of Fire, and without having to Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury now costs 2 Chi. Which is, like, that's huge for AoE. It means you don't have to Rising Sun Kick first. You can use Rising Sun Kick as your way of reducing the cooldown of Fist of Fury. What do I remember about this boss? He's a football boss, right? You just got to kick stuff into him. Basically, all the changes kind of synergize with each other and make Windwalker work really nicely. I think the only thing that will hold Windwalker back maybe is damage scaling. Okay, football's on the floor. Is this what I've got to kick into him? Stop moving him! Stop moving the boss! Kick the footballs. Kick the footballs. That worked, right? So look, I just like pressed I pressed Storm Earth and Fire there, and I could instantly get a 2 Chi Fist of Fury, which means I didn't have the Rising Sun Kick first. That feels so nice. A little bit worse than single target, but I think the trade-off is being better in AoE is amazing. Is this boss meant to be moved this much? I imagine he has to get him over the gold piles, right? Is that why he's, like, constant moving him? football to me? What? He kicked the football back. He's passing. Oh my god, he passed the football back to me. He was laying me off. Hey Airbnb. We're just, if you just joined everyone, we're testing out Motherload at the moment. I was going to say Operation Mechagon. It's not. Dungeon seems alright. I don't think it's overtuned. I just think none of us know how to do this dungeon. Which is fine. I'm mostly testing out Conduit the Celestials at the moment. I've been hyping it up since I started streaming this morning. Afternoon. My brain's cooked already, guys. I'm like, what, half an hour in? Yeah, I've been testing it and hyping it up for about half an hour now, and it feels really, really nice. I've basically been going over how there's going to be a kind of variation to the Conduit the Celestial opener that you might be familiar with. You might not be, because some of you might have never played Conduit the Celestials in your life, because it's not meta for Windwalker in live. But at the moment, it's looking like it could be our best in raid, and even if it's not the best in M+, it's still going to feel really, really fun to play. And it's all about burst windows. It's all about this little icon over here, part of the Jade Serpent. But when you're on a big pack, you can be doing upwards of like 10 million damage easily. It feels amazing. We are the enhancement shamans now. Can he solo tank this? Surely these bombs are just going to one-shot him. There's no shot. Unless he bubbles. Did he bubble? I don't know what any of these icons mean. I don't know what... I don't play Paladin. I went over this to see if I could work out what his bubble was. I don't know what bubble looks like. I think he did, though. But he's not going to solo this. He's not a DK. Ain't happening. But yeah, I can have a little look at these talents and go over why... Oh, no, he's dead. That's fine. We won't go over the talents. The bomb explosion seems to be overtuned at the moment. I just don't think you're meant to let the bomb explosion go off. And oh no, it's another one of those where people just go offline. They wipe once in a dungeon on PTR and they just log off. And that's enough testing for today. We're out of here. Awesome. I don't think the tuning felt too bad there. I think we got one shot because we just didn't do the mechanic. Like, there were still footballs. A 2 Mechagon workshop? Oh, go on then. I don't mind doing a 2. I was a little bit iffy with doing lower level keys the other week, but that's because my brain is smooth and I didn't realize that there was scaling. So in my head, I was like, why am I only doing 2 million damage in this key? Do I suck? But it's because your item level is literally lower than what it is on live. So you can still get a good representation of how Windwalker is doing based on, like, I guess comparing it to the other people in your group, which is, like, never the best way to compare how good your damage is, but it's all we've got. And we can work on percentages as well. I love percentages. I think we'll go Conduit the Celestial again. Everything's going to die real quick, but I want to get a full dungeon run of this. I also keep forgetting to set my Hearthstone to Stormwind, which means I've got to do this tedious light. It's a Paladin party with a couple of monks. Paladin's one of the main classes that I see on PTR, actually. Monk as well. Not necessarily Windwalker, but I see a lot of Mistweavers and Brewmasters. I think Mistweaver is potentially coming back into meta next season. I mean, I had some of them in my raid group the other night, so that's pretty telling. Are we finally... The shaman's over. They've been gutted. Please, God. Tell me it's so. Like, it was pretty much, if you want to do any high key and you didn't have a resto shaman, it was over. Go again. And that just feels awful for any other healers. It's the workshop. The workshop's the second half then, right? I don't know. Oh. Oh, okay, we're going straight away. Yeah, it looks like the second half. So yeah, I think the on surface part was the part people hated. Pull it all. Pull it all, mate. Let me unleash myself. Okay. Yes. Oh my god. He's cooking, boys. Ow. Ow. So I know 5 million looks low, but this is a +2, which means we're all scaled down to, I don't know, 629 or something. So the best way to compare it is to how would you do at 629 on live at the moment. Or how would I do on 629 at the moment? I completely misplayed that pull, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen these bosses in my life. Anybody else? Just me? Are these new? I mean, they're definitely not new, but... Fire looks bad. Okay. Yeah, just knock me out when I'm doing my, like, when I'm in my massive cooldown window. I appreciate you. Thank you, BattleBot. Again! The worst part as well is that we no longer have a Flying Serpent Kick to get back in if you're running this build. And you definitely don't want to be slicing winds for movement. That is just a big no-no. He looks like he has a massive shield on him. So I'm going to attack this guy. Is that the correct play? I have no idea. So you can see Strike of the Windlord and Celestial Convict come up at about the same time. I'm going to actually hold off so that I get the Gale Force buff. So I think that's how you're going to want to play it now. Is that the Gale Force buff is so good that you kind of want to be holding off. No, don't you dare. I'm Celestial Conduing it. You bastard. This fight's gonna... I'm lucky this is a +2 because I'm getting hit by everything. This fight's gonna be absolute carnage. I'm on the hopefulness that you weren't meant to kill them at the same time. I definitely killed them at this different times. He doesn't look like he's buffed for extra damage though. I think that was more of a mechanic that they added in this. Ow. That they added in the War Within. You've got two bosses now. One from the Stone Vault and one from... What's the new dungeon called? Floodgate? Where you basically... If you kill one of the bosses before the other one enrages and you're dead. Thanks for subscribing, Jeff. Welcome to the channel. Alright, so that boss looks like carnage. And now we're in the rubbish heap. Okay. I thought that maybe I'd, like, somewhat remember this dungeon. I don't remember any of this. I must have run this, like, no times at all, honestly. Detox didn't remove the poison? Weird. Also, I don't know if any of you play Mistweaver, but last night in my raid, I had a Mistweaver that did, like, after 30 seconds of a pull, he had done, like, 3 million... Like, he was on 3 million damage per second. And it all came from, like, Crackling Jade Lightning and some kick ability. He seems to think that that wasn't a bug, and that was normal. Is that, like, a Mistweaver was going to do insane damage or something? Am I out of the loop here? But he did more damage to me on one pull, and I was like, what is this? Mistweaver's broken. Oh, it's a bug, hey. Yeah, it was crazy. I looked at the details, and I was like, hold up. This isn't right. I thought he was running the Windwalker Crackling Jade Lightning build. I was like, they gave that to Mistweaver too? But no. Just a bug. That's fine then. We're allowed some bugs here and there. So even when we're outside of our burst windows, there's no, like, real issue of energy or chi at all that I find. I think that we just seem in, like, a good place of always being able to cast abilities, which is what you want. Like, you'd imagine, like, you're outside your burst window, maybe it's going to feel a bit worse. Not really. The only downside with a burst window build, though, is that like, pulls like this, you don't want to be popping all your cooldowns, so it's going to feel a little bit bad if, like, you're holding, you know, everything. Because you want it to be in your, like, massive burst window. Which is another argument why something like the Crackling Jade Lightning build might be better for M+, because you're not going to hold it as much. With Shadow Pan, you know, you're always going to be proccing Flurry Strikes, for instance. I don't know what you're doing. You gotta stand behind the block. Okay, I've got my pad brain on, honestly. Don't res the healer. Alright, maybe res the healer. Yeah, the burst is insane. Maybe I should turn my brain on a little bit. I mean, I'm still learning the mechanics, so stand behind block. I do actually remember this boss now that I see these blocks on the ground. Couldn't remember anything else about this dungeon, but now that I see these, yeah, because they explode, don't they, once he's done a few? Oh. Okay, I guess that's not how you do it. I think you're meant to not let the blocks explode. I don't know. Look, the best time to learn a dungeon is before it goes on live. Because when it's on live and then you start tanking keys, that's when you're going to get flamed. That's when your tank's going to write an essay on why you're the worst damage dealer in, like, the entire existence of the game. Yeah, even on, like, single target, this is, like, the AoE version of this build. It was insane damage on burst. Like, it did say 2 million, but it's not really 2 million. That's a fake number. Don't worry about that. We're going the right way. Alright, so Junkyard Dog, stand behind the blocks. Don't let the blocks explode, otherwise you're dead. Easy peasy. By the way, when I'm using Zuin, I need to use a macro of pet attack / follow. If not, it just stands there. If you press Zuin and you find your pet bar when he activates, you need to set him to... I don't remember what it's called, but not... He must be on, like, passive, I think, at the moment. You don't want him on passive. It'll be something to do with that. Like, you've got it auto set up on passive. And that's why he's not doing anything. Probably should have... Is he about to vent? I just popped my cooldowns! I think there's no bar. Are you using anything like Bartender or anything like that? Like any external UI? What do I want to call it? External. I don't want to go on the box. I don't want to go on the box. Oh, I see. He dashes. Any external like UI modifier? That's not the right term that I'm thinking of at all, but I think you know what I mean. Like ELV UI Bartender. He has no interactions or abilities. It definitely sounds like a pet bar, like he was set on passive or something. Just off the top of my head, if I had to guess. Tank's dead. Not good. I'm the tank now. Like, here, let me... I'm gonna pop my zoo in here just to show you what I mean. So it might be hidden as well. Like, if you're using Blizzard UI, or using ELV UI, it might be that it's hidden, but it might be hidden by Blizzard's edit mode. So if I can't press zoom, can I, unless I have a target? Idiot. Oh, no, this is where people die. Couldn't be me, though. I'll need to find an ad, and then I can show you what I mean by finding the pet bar. Oh, no, no, too risky. What is this? Who designed this? Alright, I'm just going to waste my zoo in here just to show you. So in the top left, you can see my pet bar is active at the moment because I just popped him. So there is the option if you go to edit mode where this could be hidden. You could hide it. Potentially not. But you should have a pet bar. and he needs to be set on assist. So I imagine you'll have him set on passive, so he won't attack until you're ordered to do so. Even if you had him defensive, I think he'd help out. I mean, it generally gets auto set to assist, but that's the only thing I can think of is that he's set to passive. If you see what I mean. So that bar should appear somewhere on your screen, but there's a good chance maybe if you're using ELV UI or something, it's got it like hidden automatically. And it's one of the main reasons I don't use ELV UI, because trying to find a setting like that sounds horrendous. That could like that sounds like it would take me hours to find that. I'm sure with like a quick Google search you could look up like pet bar ELV UI and someone will know where it is. That sounds like a pretty common one, but that's my first guess. And if it's not set to that, then I'm not actually too sure why he wouldn't attack. But that's my best guess, and it sounds like it. I'd be surprised if it isn't that. Because you shouldn't have to do a slash pet attack or anything. But yeah, if your Zuin's not attacking, you're gonna, yeah, lose so much damage. Oh god, what's he doing? Oh god, no. Oh god, no. Alright, I'm milking it a little bit. I do know how to dodge colours. I'm not. Oh, I need to drink this coffee before it gets cold. Coffee at 5 PM? Surely not. Let's see. Have I got these set up? Create a new window. We'll set this one to dynamic overall damage. Yeah, stop, please. Stop. Get off. Let me just... Alright, there we go. What's going on here then? We got to sneak our way in. All I can see is paladins on this map. I have no idea where they are. I think we have to sneak our way in, but he's on the other side. I'm just going to run. There's a lot of detecto bots. Oh, okay. You can just dodge him. Oh. Monk stealthy, monk sneaky. What is this? You got like 3 of them on top of each other. What? What was that time it gave you to dodge? I was about to say, oh, at least it doesn't send you back to the start. That would suck. Yeah, it sends you back to the start. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm so impatient. I'm so greedy. But how are you meant to dodge these 3? Am I... This is the final boss of Mechagon, guys. It's not the king. It's the detector bot room. Okay. Okay. So I dodged this, and now you get to these triple ones. Do I have to wait for him to go? Yes. No. You no shot that hit me. These guys are tweaking up here. No. No. Oh my god. So bad at this video game. Who is it? It's me and the other monk. we're just having the worst time of our lives right now. I'm pretty sure you can't get detected in the smoke. Makes sense. But I'm impatient. So I imagine you'd go in the smoke, wouldn't you? Yeah, there we go. I nailed it. Easy peasy, guys. Hide on the vents to the right. Yeah, I'm not that smart. It can be smart to add a pet follower macro also, so if you run somewhere far. Oh, I've never had... Yeah, I don't really have those for him. I think he should, like, he chains lightnings everything, and he should, like, auto attack pretty much whatever your target is, more or less. So it's not too bad in, like, raiding an M+. But, I mean, if it works, it works. What macros do I have? I have quite a few. I need to make a macro video. I keep saying I'm going to make a macro video, and I just haven't found the time. But more or less, I have, like, a few key ones. I can go over when I'm not in a dungeon, if I get reminded. My brain's too, like, small to remember something like that. Alright, this is a good pull. It was an alright pull. Slicing Winds did all the damage though. Okay, this is the boss. Sure he is. Meet your bloom. Okay, shoots out cog wheels. Fine. And then there's things we need to kill. Sure. And there's lasers we need to dodge. Okay. Seems relatively simple enough. I don't like how he pops all of his mechanics the moment I use a cooldown. But I'll let it slide. I'm just trying to keep an eye out for these plants that seem to spawn. So I imagine if you don't kill them, you're just going to get one shot. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there's one over there. They don't have a lot of health, though. There's a +2, though, mind. Oh, it gets crazier. Okay, cogwheels everywhere. Fire. Whoop. Alright, that's a pretty chill boss. And we've almost done all the trash. Honestly, I don't think this is going to be a very long dungeon, like, for running it on live. I mean, we wiped, like, quite a few times. We're only on 18 minutes, and we're at the final boss, more or less, so... I reckon this is going to be one of the faster dungeons, which is always nice. Now what? We're at the end of the line. Oh. Cool. I don't know what people were talking about in BFA. This dungeon's not too bad. It's kind of cool. You guys are tweaking. The curse of flesh. Alright, these shield generators, I guess you just move them out of. I did ring a piece, but it didn't seem to do anything. How's Windwalker looking? It's looking really good. I've done a fair bit of testing. I mean, I've tested like maybe 6 days so far in the PTR. I think this is day 6, like M+ raiding. It feels clean. It feels fast. It feels like it does a lot of damage. And there's like still a lot of like min-maxing that can be done. I've been going over pretty much how you can min-max Celestial Conduit at the moment to get like some crazy damage out of it. I'll try shot on this pull actually. It's all to do with, like, the Jade Serpent, the thing that's glowing right now at the top of my screen, more or less. And then, like, getting the double buffs of it up. Or should I say triple buffs? You can get triple buffs of it, pretty much. Just because of how the cooldown reduction works. So now I've, like, triple buffed it in, like, a period of, what, 20 seconds or so? So you can get some crazy, crazy damage out of Windwalker Burst if you go Celestial Conduit. Which I think is going to be really nice for raiding. And Slicing Winds does hit a lot as well when you use it in the M+ build. No idea what this boss does, just like all the others. I like a surprise. Oh, is this similar to City of Echoes? City of Echoes? One of the sissies, the one that the orbs chase you around. I don't know if I'm going to find out. This boss is getting melted. It seems semi-similar. Don't stand where the orbs are going to go. It's that easy. Gigazap. I don't like the sound of that. Oh no! Slicing Winds out! That was clutch. Oh! Okay, don't stand under the boss when he's cutting beaming. Oh my god, that nuked me. Seems... I appreciate that, Rez. Thank you. It seems like a relatively simple fight, though. I think the scariest one was the first, but... Oh, we'll get another one. I'm back, baby. Oh, there's 2 stages. Okay, it's not just that. It's not just that. Yeah, okay, I am a fool. Where is he going? Okay, dude. Sure. I don't remember this. I have no recollection of this at all. So really, this... I could even argue this isn't a legacy dungeon. This is a brand new dungeon for me. I'm dead. I got knocked whilst I was trying to dash. Was it me or did he travel way too fast? I don't know. What in the zap? I just kind of thought he was gonna go up there, kind of like chat some shit, and then come back down. I didn't realize he was gonna zap me into oblivion. And by the time I realized, it was well too late. Beam to the sides now. Yeah. Yeah. I think I got the beam mechanic alright, but I just kind of stood in all of these, and then I slicing winds. And slicing winds now, like, barely moves you at all if you one-tap it. So really, that's a nerf. If this was a couple of weeks ago, I would have got out of that for sure, for sure. Oh, definitely. Not too bad. Don't know how accurate the damage breakdown is going to be for that. We can have a little look. So yeah, look, you get Slicing Winds is doing about 8% now, which is really good. They buffed it a week ago or so, so it did even more damage. I want to say they buffed it by... Oh, I don't want to spit out the wrong number here. Let's, what did they actually buff it by? It was a lot. It was, like, a significant 33%. So, that's a lot, right? So it was doing about, like, 5-6% of your damage, and now it can do, like, up to 8, and maybe even more, if you play it more optimally. Gale Force is also the big one. It's the reason why that we strike with the Windlord first before you Celestial Conduit, because you want to basically get your Celestial Conduit burst in this window. So Gale Force is another big one that works well with Cock. Spinning Crane Kick, #1 damage. Kind of a little bit surprising. I'd imagine Fist of Fury would be more up there, but I did spend a lot of time on the ground. But yeah, damage-wise, it's pretty... Seems pretty standard, to be honest. Seems pretty good. And you do run Rushing Jade Wind still in this build, even though there's no longer Mark of the Crane. Why would you run this? It does good damage on its own. I mean, that, like, you can see there, it comes out at... What's that? 2, 4, 6, 8th highest damage. So it's still, like, really competitive. But you also, like, get it as well every time you activate Zuin if you use this talent. Not too sure about Yulon's knowledge. It's not really run. Increasing the duration's not, like, that good. You just get more applications of it, I think. That just seems to come out stronger. But then as well as that, like, every time you Rushing Jade Wind, you get energy regen. And it's one of the main reasons why we're not going to drop this talent for Cock, to be honest. Because if you're no longer Rushing Jade Wind, you're losing a lot of your energy regen, and that's probably one of the big things that's, like, keeping you stable throughout an encounter. So it's one of those, like, kind of hidden things that if you don't look too deeply into your hero talents, you'd miss over. So it's not just a Mark of the Crane applicator. Applicator? You know what I mean. Applicationer? I don't know. Words. So it kind of makes sense now to compare this build to the Shadowpan one. Just in sense of kind of how they play out. Shadowpan's going to look extremely similar, if not the exact same to what you are used to it being now. The only major difference is that we no longer run Strike of the Windlord. So if anything, it's going to actually look simpler. It's going to be a lot more focused on Rising Sun Kicks and like box, and it's going to be a lot stronger on like boss encounters. In the dungeons that you run now. Because you're taking Brawler's Intensity now, which basically means Rising Sun Kicks up a bit more, and it also increases Blackout Kick. Basically, it's a mega Blackout Kick focused build, so you're never going to want this to go over to, like, I say go over 2 stacks, but it can't. You never want it to be at 2 stacks, because then if you get another proc of a stack, you're kind of screwed, like you've lost a lot of damage. So you're going to have to focus a lot more on your Blackout Kick stacks. Luckily, Luxthos has like an internal blackout kick icon that shows up, so that's a really good tracker for it. It's also Crackling Jade Lightning, you know, roughly every 20 stacks, that's when you want to press it off, but what I learned through raid testing was not to be afraid to press it early if the time came. I think it's better to use a less stacked Crackling Jade Lightning and hit all the targets you want than save it up and then have to wait like almost like 20 seconds, 30 seconds to then use it again. So yeah, 20 is obviously the best thing you want it to be using it at, but don't be afraid to use it earlier, I think. From testing anyway. +5 theater? Let me in there, boys. Grimbatol Heroic? These guys know it's the PTR. What are you doing in Grimbatol Heroic? What? I'm not going to question it. Let them do what they want to do. Ideally, I get invited to this. I don't mind doing +12s. I just know that if the scaling is pretty poor, then it's going to be a cluster. As well as that, if I'm not familiar with the dungeons, I'm going to make a lot of like errors, and you don't want to be making those in +12s. I'd rather be a bit more confident in what the dungeon actually does. Will we run Conduit more now than Season 1? Been wanting to play it for a while? Yes. I mean, like, nothing's set in stone, but I can pretty confidently say yes. It's looking really good for raid, and the talk of the town is that there's a good chance it'll be our main raid build, Conduit, just because of the burst windows. It holds itself pretty well in M+ as well. It might just be more consistent to go Shadow Pan because it's a little bit simpler, and the damage is still good. But Conduit is definitely going to have a place next tier, unless they massively, like, nerf it. Basically, all they've done for the past few weeks is buff it, buff it, buff it, give it quality of life. They want it to be a build, right? Blizzard, they want it to actually be a build. So I'd be very surprised if they nerf it to a degree where we can't run it. Like, there'd be no point, like, making our talents, like, line up really nicely with it, like, changing Zwan's Bond to now 100% be a 30-second cooldown reduction so it lines up perfectly with it. You know, increasing Heart of the Jade Serpent so that it, like, lines up every strike of the Windlord. There's too many, like, things that they've changed about it for it not to be good. So, yeah, that, I guess TLDR is, yes, it's going to be used somewhere. For sure. What was this? Theater. Oh, infinite loading screen. Oh, I remember this place. This place sucked. In terms of trinkets and gear, I haven't really talked about that much today. I'm using the 2 new trinkets. I think that House of Cards is definitely going to have a place for Conduit the Celestials. Whether it's going to be good for Shadow Pan is up for debate. Maybe there's a better 2-minute one. And I constantly run Reverb Radio. No idea if it's going to be best, but it gives us like constant haste all the time and then gives you like a ton of haste every so often, which, you know, we like haste at the moment. In terms of weapons, I'm running my old weapons because everything scales at the moment, so I'm kind of being a little bit cheeky by not using all the new gear. The main reason for this is crafted pieces. I can't for the life of me work out how to make new crafted pieces, so I'm using these old ones to get the crafted buffs, which you're going to obviously take on into the next season anyway. And so I actually have them, so it's more like an more accurate representation, I think. And I've also been using this Molten Knuckles a lot as well. No stats on it. Sounds a bit freaky, right? But the amount of damage this actually does, I wish I didn't reset my details. It can provide like almost like 4% of your overall damage. It's kind of crazy. How much it does. It has like 2 damage buffs that it does. I think one of them's called like I don't know what I want to call it. I wanted to say Golden Shower, but it's definitely not Golden Shower. It's it's Molten Gold. There we are. One of them is Molten Gold, and it does another one as well. And when you add them together, it's a lot of your overall for the loss of some stats. So I'd be surprised if this isn't best in slot. And good news, it doesn't work with a trinket, which means you don't have to have like the trinket and the weapon like this tier, where if you had the Warp Blade but you didn't have the Void Reaper, you were screwed. Or if you had the Void Reaper and you didn't have the Warp Blade, you were screwed. like me, I don't think I had the Void contract for 8-9 weeks or something ridiculous. Like, it took me so long to get the Void Reaper contract. It took me so long to get the Void Reaper contract that my first Void Reaper contract was from Mythic Kaiveza. That's how long it took. Didn't get it normal, heroic, LFR. It took me all the way to Mythic difficulty to get that. So I'm glad that we're not getting tiered locked, if that makes sense. Small pools, 3 to 5 targets. Theory to Pain must be perfect dungeon for Windwalker. I don't remember it at all, to be honest. I have heard people tell me that before, though, that it's really good for Windwalker. And if what you're saying is like 3 to 5, then yes, amazing. 3 to 5 is like our sweet spot. We love that shit. I don't need these. I brought my own. Make sure everything's in place and I've got my keybinds all set up. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, so we're going to run House of Cards for this. I don't think it's going to be the best for Shadow Pan. It'll be something else, probably. But I'm used to it. No idea what this ring really does. It, like, kind of works like the... what does it work like? It gives stats to other players, I think. Something like that. I don't really read into it too much. So you can see... Oh my god, no, please stop. You can see over here I've got this Crackling Jade Lightning counter that keeps going up. So that's basically what I'm keeping a track on. And when it gets to 20, you pretty much kind of want to be pressing it unless, like, you're fighting one target and it makes no sense. But the idea is to stack it up to 20, but then you can use it earlier if it makes sense. This is a boss, isn't it? Oh, lordy. These 2 icons, don't worry about them too much. They're more for Celestial Conduit. I just don't want to remove them, because the issue with removing them is I'll forget to put them on for a dungeon. And then we're in trouble. That came in so quickly. I thought I'd have at least another second on that. Okay. Well, that's just lack of knowing how the dungeon works. It swirly came in and I was like, ah, you can move out of that well quick. Or well, not, yeah, you can move out of that, like, I thought I had loads of time. But yeah, if you, like, just look at that simple damage breakdown, you can see how big Fist of Fury is just for Shadow Pan. Like, Fist of Fury is going to absolutely slap Shadow Pan now. It's going to be one of our biggest damages. But you can also see how much Crackling Jade Lightning did. That was 120 stack with, obviously, Storm, Earth, and Fire buffs. And what did that do overall? Like, 14 million? Is my math right? 15 million? That's kind of a lot. Oh, I also have Flying Serpent Kickback. That's going to be one of the plus sides of Shadow Pan. Alright, so we get sent down into the Slaughter Dome, don't we? And then you choose which way you go. Now these mechanics are new. Oh, are those new? Oh, that's not even my fault then. I can't blame for anything. They could be new, they couldn't be. I don't know. I don't remember this dungeon. I know that you could go anywhere you want, though. I do remember that. And I remember one boss had, like, a flag mechanic. Am I... I don't know. Does that sound right? A flag mechanic. Help me! Please help me! You pull it, you tank it. I don't think I pulled that on purpose. I was just the closest person at the time. One bad thing about the Crackling Jade Lightning, though, that I have noticed, not because it happens a lot to me, obviously, but when you die, you lose all your stacks. That feels awful, especially if you're sat near 20, because it can take, like, easily a minute to build all those stacks up. This isn't a boss, right? This is the mini boss, no? The boss is up there. He's watching us. Oh, yeah, the moment I go in, you just decide to whirlwind. Alright, buddy. Oh. I'm gonna move out of these swirlies so fast you don't even, like... Oh! No, please, I'm on 20 stacks. I don't want to die now. That'll feel atrocious. I was not in that. I was not in that. I am not having that. So he shoots out swords, and it looks like it would be best to just move him as far away as possible. We're playing a little bit on the danger zone. But that guy seems simple enough. Although he definitely hit me when I rolled out. But I'll let it slide. Oh, this is bringing back memories, actually, yeah. You fight one light guy at a time, don't you? It's like the... And he gains the mechanics of the previous ones. Am I correct? I think I am. So here, I can see that I'm stacking Crackling Jade Lightning, and it would be... Oh, okay, well, I was going to say I was going to wait till we pull the ads, and then I'd use it. But, we had different ideas. So now, now it definitely makes sense to be popping this. And probably everything in my kit, actually, to be honest. It's definitely a lot easier on Shadow Pan to, like, interrupt and kick and stuff. Because you obviously have less channels that you need to focus on. One less ability as well will strike the Windlord. Ow. Please no. Okay. I guess I became the tank for a second there. Yeah, so you don't want to pull this pack, by the way, when you do these mini-bosses. Yeah. Little tip for you all. Yeah, this is a lot simpler to play. I feel like Conduit the Celestial is going to be more like high risk, high reward sort of thing. Like, if you can like manage to get that combo down about how you need to play it and how to get like the exact ordering, you're going to be rewarded with insane damage. But if like you struggle a little bit with like making sure you can like do that ordering correctly and have the high APM, Shadowpan's going to be a nice alternative for consistent damage. Because they're completely different. Shadowpan's like way chiller to play. Through VDH wasn't working at the moment. Tested it myself and the tier didn't work for me. What's VDH? Vengeance Demon Hunter. I haven't tested any Vengeance Demon Hunter. What does the tier set do? Is it like another... Is it kind of the same to Windwalker where it's all like passive damage? Like one of your abilities will buff another ability a bit as a chance to fall off because we like Gamba. That's pretty much Windwalker's. RTSX definitely works. I've heard no feedback that the Windwalker one doesn't work, so that's good. And I think you'd be able to tell as well if your tier set didn't work. You'd look at your damage and you'd be like, well, why is nothing happening? It super buffs Rising Sun Kick, it buffs Whirling no, words. It buffs Fist of Fury, Spinning Crane Kick, and Rising Sun Kick, our tier set. And it equates to roughly a 6% damage increase. If you have the full 4 set, which is decent, you know? It's not bad for a tier set. We've just come off of having like a 4 to 5% one, so 6%'s decent. Especially if it gets more buffs. It's just passive, completely passive. Like, you can't even really min-max it. Because it's all Gamba. Like, you have a chance that it will drop off. You need to kill this flag. I remember that. If you don't kill the flag, it's GG, well played. Oh, and he sends people down to the arena, doesn't he? And then you fight each other. Oh, this boss is cool. Yeah, and then one of you gets like a massive buff. Oh, this boss is actually well cool. It's me. I'm going to end this guy's career. Send me into the ring. Where is he? Oh my god! He got one shot. Oh my god, stunned and big stun into a crackling jade lightning. I'm so slow right now. I completely forgot that was a thing. I am just gonna kill myself here. I'm not soloing this boss. Yeah, Windwalker's fun. Never played it till I came across you. Tried it and fell in love. Doing about 2 million overall in dungeons at 635 eye level. Yeah, 2 million's good, man. Like, honestly. I love Windwalker. I dabbled in Rogue a little bit, and I'm currently dabbling in Demon Hunter. Not because I want to, because I have to. Splits for next tier. I don't know. Rogue always felt like... Rogue's alright, but I didn't like Assassination. I think that's the biggest issue. Is that, like, you have to... Like, if you're playing a 3 damage spec class, you have to know all 3, right? You can't, like, not. So I really didn't like Assassination and found it the hardest. I didn't like having to put bleeds on. I loved Outlaw, loved Subtlety, but I think that there was a big issue. Like, sometimes Assassination would be the best, and I wasn't that good at it. With Windwalker, then, I came back to it in Dragonflight, and I haven't stopped playing it since. Love Outlaw. Sadly, it's too hard. Capped in AoE. Oh, is it capped as well? I didn't know that. Yeah, I think getting capped in AoE always feels bad, and it's why Windwalker will, like, always struggle to be a meta class in Mythic Plus, because, like, how can you compete with something like a Death Knight, for instance, who is not capped? Like, they'll always they're not capped, right? I'm not crazy. Or Demon Hunter even, yeah. I know for a fact, like, Demon Hunters are not capped in their AoE. Or, like, not to the extent, anyway, of a Windwalker Monk. And yeah, it just feels awful. They're properly fighting down there. I remember that you kind of, like, you had to decide beforehand who was going to let who kill the other. Because you wanted to get back up as fast as possible. They were full on dueling. Oh, pretty funny. I'm going to hold my Crackling Jade Lightning for the next pack here. So, like, that's the thing with this Crackling Jade Lightning build. Sometimes you get really, really nice lineups like that. We just finished a boss where you don't really want to hit him with it, because that's a big damage loss. Like, comparatively to hitting a pack of 4 ads or whatnot, right? So, like, finishing on 20 stacks, this is going to feel really good. Especially if you, like, can line up with Zwan, if I get lucky enough for the cooldown to come up. It's just going to absolutely slap. Where are we going next? I think that's the only boss I remember. I'm willing to be surprised. Blade Flurry's up to 7. Yeah. 7's not too bad. Let's not talk about that. No, no, don't say nice. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. I could tell you the reason why that happened, but I'm not. Let's not make excuses. I'm just gonna. I'm not explaining myself. Oh my god, I remember this room. These all shackle you, and if you run out of CC, it's good luck. Oh, that's so frustrating. I had the perfect Crackling Jade Lightning stacked up. These guys knock you back, don't they? Is this a Transcendence power move? I think it is. We have it on tape. Not if I delete the VOD, you don't. There's nothing on tape for you to see. Soulstorm. Oh, is this... Oh, I remember. Is this the melee unfriendly area where everything does, like, horrible mechanics for melee and range are just kind of chilling? Oh, you choose your own path, don't you? It's like a choose your own adventure. Which route do you want to take? Woohoo! I think you're meant to go left. I'm like, I remember going left. I don't know. Oh, well, that wasn't worth popping my cooldowns on. Clip it and ship it? No. Oh, no. I think you just want to pull, like, certain packs here. You have to kill the Portal Guardian. I know that. But look at that. 5 million just off the Crackling Jade Lightning. Like, crazy damage when you get a 20. Oh! Yeah. It feels really good. I like the Shadow Pan build. I'm not, like... I don't think that's an issue, that it's, like, simpler. I think it's fine that it's simpler than Celestial Conduit. Because they... Yeah, I think they made it in the sense, like, Spinning Crane Kick now is a little bit simpler to use, isn't it? It means that, like, if you're just starting Windwalker, you never played it before, imagine if you just had Celestial Conduit, and now suddenly you have to learn these crazy openers. You have to perfectly get your Heart of the Jade right. Like, that's very overwhelming, right? But then to have, like, Shadow Pan, which is, like, kind of passive, a little bit more friendly. I think it's good to have the options. Don't storm. No storm. Yep, this is what I mean by melee unfriendly. What am I meant to do there? Watch. I just realized what this guy's name is. You can't keep getting away with this. I'm going to definitely take aggro if I chain lightning. I don't care, though. Oh, yeah, by the way, I changed my lightning to red on the PTR. I've been meaning to do it for weeks, but I just keep forgetting. Just because now that the Crackling Jade Lightning is a decent build, you're actually going to press it. It kind of makes sense to have, like, a cool color on it. Previously, it was like, well, why bother? But I'm definitely going to get this glyph on retail. A lot of Mistweavers use it, that I've noticed. Probably because they Crackling Jade Lightning, like, actually on retail, like, unironically. Like, the only time we'd ever Crackling Jade Lightning on retail is if you maybe mess up a little bit. Like, you get parried by a boss, for instance, and you have no chi and no energy, and you don't want to break hit combos. So that's the only time I'd ever Crackling Jade Lightning. Or if I'm trying to keep hit combos in between, like, a intermission or something, I guess. But they're a lot more lenient now. Like, previously hit combos dropped off after, like, I want to say 10 seconds. It could be 5, but I feel like that's a bit low. Now it's like 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds and it won't drop off. I don't even know if they, like, made that change, like, announced. I never saw it on any patch notes, but they definitely changed it. Death Spiral? That doesn't sound good. Oh, I'm greedy. Don't mind me just dodging the Death Spiral. Hello? This orb, like, targeted on me. Is it fixated? Bloody well feels like it. I'm just running rings around this boss. Is this how this is meant to be played? Probably diffuse magic this, right? What's he doing with my soul? Oh, do I just kill it? Okay! What happened there? He corrupts the player's souls, causing it to ripen energy, inflicting 1 million shadow damage to players. Why, though? Is it because they hit him? Were they too close, or is it because they killed them? It doesn't really say. Or is it just 1 million shadow damage to players just because they're up? That one-shot us, though. Yeah, it draws out the souls while trying to dodge. Yeah, that's fine. They must have gone into the boss then, because the mechanic is that they walk towards the boss. I'd be very surprised if they emit 1 million damage each. That'd be like 5 million damage you're taking. That's almost your whole... Yeah, no. It must be because they got into the boss. People were a little bit too close. We'll need a ring of peace there. Okie dokie. I don't mind this dungeon. Is that controversial? So far, it seems alright. Like, obviously, we're wiping and dying and stuff, but I don't think this will be a bad one to run on M+. Like, once you've learned it. It just seems to be a lot of dodge swirly mechanics, you know, and move out. Like, that's not too bad, right? This is madness for melee. Oh, no, it's fine, man. Just run in a circle constantly. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I forgot my coffee and now it's cold. Isn't that sad? Choo choo, let's go, let's go. So it's pretty much like the BFA boss, right? The spider one that sucks your souls out. Death spiral time. This is where we get to play Ring Around the Rosies with Cole Thurrock. I don't really know how you get this off of you. I think it's just like a timeout sort of thing. Diffuse magic does not get that off you, unfortunately, which is kind of a little bit lame. Ideally, I can get Crackling Jade Lightning actually before these ads show up and one-shot them all. And then everybody in this group will be so impressed. Hold on. Let me cook this up real quickly. No, wait. I want everybody to be impressed. Woo! Look, I grouped up, guys. That's so cooked. I need to touch of death this down. It's not too bad, actually. They take a lot of damage. Oh, I get double mechanics. Aren't I a lucky boy? I do see that a message just came through, but I know if I look towards chat right now, I am dead. Like, I know that if I turn my head, I'm just going to get one-shot by the spinning balls of death. Don't aim that line towards me, you! My lord, they made this boss so much more hectic than before. Oh, was it not that bad? So they have actually changed boss mechanics and stuff. This dungeon is not for beginners for Season 2. I think that's kind of a good thing. I think that it's not like a bad idea that they update legacy dungeons. Even ones like from Shadowlands, you know, which realistically wasn't that long ago. Like, what is it, 4 years? Which I guess you could argue is relatively old now. But even back then, like, bosses and stuff were easier. Like, the game's always evolving. So it's not too bad to mix things up a little bit. Otherwise, the people that ran this dungeon like 1,000 times are just going to come back in here and not want to run it again. You know, because it's the exact same thing as well. So I'm okay with that. And for people like me that don't even remember the dungeon, it wouldn't matter in the first place. This is all new to me, really. I remember a mechanic here and there. Like, I remember the fight arena, now that I've seen it, because I remember one-shotting my friends or getting one-shot by them, either or, when we used to run this dungeon. That was when I played Rogue, a while ago now. What melees do you think will be S tier in 11.1? See, that's a tough question because I don't really play anything other than Windwalker. Like, I try to keep up with other classes through people in my guild. Like, how are they feeling about their spec and stuff. I think, just from basic understanding, I think Enhancement Shaman's still going to be, like, really good. All I've ever heard is, like, good things about it, even with PCR changes. Warriors just got some big buffs. I don't know if that's because they were severely undertuned, though. But they definitely got some big buffs last night. On, like, all of, like, Fury and Arms got, like, 10-20% buffs on a majority of their, like, big abilities. So that's pretty exciting if you enjoy Warrior. The issue is, though, I think, is that I don't know if any of you saw, but they theoretically nerfed Windwalker for dungeons. However, speaking to like top Windwalkers and stuff, and people that play Windwalker a lot, they don't actually do anything that negatively impact Windwalker, like overall. So then that begs the question: is it just going to be classes that really work with Windwalker that are just going to be Biss again? And chances are probably right. Windwalker, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, Mythic Plus is always going to be dominated by classes that can have uncapped AoE. Like, even if your class isn't, like, the strongest of the strong, having uncapped AoE always gives you the edge, right? So I imagine DKs will still be good. I imagine it'll be the same old bunch unless they get massively nerfed. Potentially Warriors could be good again. I don't know how capped they are. I think that's the issue. Like, I do get asked, like, a few questions on, like, how do I see Windwalker compared to other classes. That's probably the one, like, place where I have a little bit of a knowledge gap. I don't really like ults. I'm just not that sort of player. I don't like making, like, loads of characters. I don't know why. Some people love it. Some people are absolute ultaholics, but I just like playing the single character, like, to the best of my ability. So I do struggle with, like, knowing where everything is. Like, once we get into the live season, it'll be super easy to tell what the best of the best are. But right now, just playing with characters, though, the best ones I've seen doing damage, Enhanced Shaman, which I've already said. I've seen Paladins do a lot of damage as well. What else have I seen do good? I mean, personal experience, I've seen Windwalkers do good, right? But is it bad for me to say that's because I'm playing it? Nah, screw it. That's because I'm playing it. No, I kid. But like, yeah, personal experience. If I had to say what class is good, I'd say Windwalker, because any damage that I see myself do is pretty good, right? But that might not be representative of, like, the top end. What else have I seen that's good? I think Warlocks I've seen have done not too bad. I mean, I could argue that I've seen, like, people that have played Feral that I've run, like, raiding with, they did good damage, but, like, is Feral good? Probably not, right? When's Feral ever good? It's hard to judge, basically, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm yapping, but what I think I'm trying to say is it's difficult to tell right now. And even if, like, I knew, it could change next week, because it's all PTR, isn't it? Like, classes are getting buffed and nerfed, like, weekly. Windwalker just does more damage buffs to the DPS instead of healers and tanks included. Yeah, I know, that's the thing. Like, Blizzard, like, I don't know what they were thinking. Their idea was, oh, you're no longer gonna, like, buff tanks and healers, haha. But now it's just like, okay, well, we're just gonna buff the characters that we want to be buffing more, right? Like, who comes up with this? Windwalker is such an awkward one to balance, though, because it's either really overpowered or it's gutted. Like, you can't have a middle ground, right? Really, for a support class that buffs people. Oh, I remember this boss. It's all coming back to me. This is the one, he sends, like, meat hooks. And then if you get grabbed, you are screwed. Yes, okay, cool. I remember this boss. Why do they pop their, like, big AoE ability? Okay, I didn't realize it came in waves of 2, though. Okay, that's on me. I was feeling so chuffed with myself. I was like, yes, I just dodged that. I'm on top of my game. Instantly, the second wave came in. Alright, meat hooks. Okay, yeah. I've learned. See? We learn here. We adapt. We overcome. I have a 20 stack, but I'm going to wait for the... No, I'm not. What am I talking about? Waiting? Ooh! Meat hooks on the edge. Oh, look. I'm the tank now. Oh, no, I don't want to be the tank. Hold up. I don't want to be the tank. I've changed my mind. Okay. You don't have to taunt. It's fine, mate. I guess. I saw he got rezzed, and I was like, I'm going to be saved now. He wasn't getting aggro. Oh, no. Ah, right. Org. Yeah, Org's just it's such an awkward one. And the issue is, well, with Org, that it, like, almost creates the meta, if that makes sense. Like, if Org is powerful, then the meta classes are going to be the ones that Org buff the most. Like, obviously some classes will be stronger than others, but if Org's good, it's going to amplify those classes to be out of the world. And that's kind of why meta is so difficult at the moment. Like, it almost feels like there's only, like, 4 classes you can play that are meta at some times. Like, I'm pretty sure for the entire Season 1, it felt like it was Blood DK... Not Blood DK, it felt like it was DK, Orgvoker, and Shaman, right? And that felt like it was the only combination that anybody played at high-level keys. And that's just because Orgvoker worked so well with them. Pretty much. Orgvoker worked so well with them that even though they were strong on their own, they were so power ramped that everybody else kind of just fell behind. And that's kind of the issue with Orgvoker. I think the other versions of Oka, the, what are they called? Like Prez and... I forget what the other one's called. I think they're fine. I think those are cool classes, but I think Orgvoker was maybe... I don't know. I don't know if it works in a game like WoW. Like, it worked in the sense, like, it's cool, but it creates this horrible imbalance that can feel really, really bad. And it's like, how do you balance that? And realistically, you don't balance that, right? Oh, yes, I remember these. You're meant to actually stack them, aren't you? You stack them up together, and then... Yeah, okay. Kind of like that other boss that we just did. Oh, I'm going to save Crackling Jade Lightning here, because we're going to get that again. And then I'm going to one-shot everything, and then everybody in this group's going to be like, wow, this guy's so good at the game. I remember this. The crowd start fighting. So realistically, I'm only going to get one more big Crackling Jade Lightning, so it's not the end of the world to hold it either. I'm not being greedy. Although I am being greedy if he doesn't cast it again, please. Yes. Yes, everybody group up. It's my time. Oh! That felt good. Everything just died. So, you see what I mean. Obviously, I lost quite a few Crackling Jade Lightnings there because of deaths from not knowing what's going on. But even then, you know, it does about 7.6% of my damage, which is about roughly what Slicing Winds was doing. Obviously, both can be played better, but that's kind of what I mean. Is like, this build is still going to do good in M+, and it might be the better build, like, damage-wise. It might not, but it's definitely going to be the more friendly for people that are first coming into Windwalker. It's going to feel a lot easier to play. I mean, you don't have Strike of the Windlord anymore, so you're down a button there. The only thing you've gained is Crackling Jade Lightning, that all you do is stack up and press. It's a lot more simplistic. You don't have to think about spinning crane kick stacks anymore. You just press it when it glows, right? Like, it's a lot more friendly. But it is, if you are familiar with Shadowpan and you played a lot of Shadowpan, it's going to feel very boring. If you have to play this all the time. Like, you don't want to have to... We don't want this to be our main build at all content next year. Otherwise, I could see a lot of Windwalkers just stopping playing Windwalker, even if it's strong, just because it's really simple. And simple's not always bad, but it's bad when you've played the exact same build for, like, how many months is it? 4 or 5 months now? And then suddenly they make it simpler, and you're just doing the exact same thing. So it's why I'm probably going to be playing a lot of Celestial Conduit, just because I like the APM. I like the kind of difficulty curve it has as well. I'll still play Shadowpan if it's strong. Obviously, I'm not going to go to raid and then Shadowpan's stronger on a boss, and I'm going to be like, nah, I play Celestial Conduit now. I'm a little bit of a meta build slave. I kind of have to be. But it'll be fun to mess around. Opinion on Rogues vs Windwalker, disregarding balancing tuning. I have no idea how Rogues are. The last time I played Rogue was Shadowlands. Ironically, the same dungeon that we're in right now is Shadowlands. It's not that ironic, is it? Anyway. I don't know. I mean, I could bring up the stat sticks. I think, from my understanding, like, the good thing about Rogue is that even if like two of the okay, how do I explain this? It's got 3 DPS specs, right? So as long as one of them's good, you're always going to have something to play that feels nice. It's like that's one of the biggest issues with things like Windwalker, is that we have 1 damage spec. How we're doing is how we're doing. We can't then go like the second DPS spec because there isn't one. That's why it always feels bad when Windwalker's like at the bottom of the DPS rankings, because we can't switch to our secret, you know, I can't even make up a name right now for it, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I really don't know anything about Rogue, how they work. They got a massive buff in Dragonflight, wasn't it? And like completely, yeah, I lost track of how they were doing. I haven't played them for so long. I can tell you about Demon Hunter. I played Demon Hunter. I hate it. It sucks. If any of you play Demon Hunter, close your ears. I think Immolation Aura is the worst thing ever designed in this game, besides all Vokers. Like, the fact that you have to constantly dash to do damage is an atrocious game design. Whoever came up with it needs to be slapped and told, no, remove it. If you've ever played Olgrax or bosses where you have to dodge a load of things, and then suddenly I have to dash on the ground, otherwise I do like 15% less damage. Who came up with that? Who thought, yes, this is what Demon Hunters want? It feels awful. Okay, that's my Demon Hunter ran over. Frost DK can be replaced. They just had a really strong damage profile. They got hit by the nerfs. Oh, is it? I know that they got nerfed in raids. I didn't realize they got nerfed so hard in M+. Was it the same for Unholy? Or did people literally just switch from Frost to Unholy? New buffs days ago for Frost DK seem nice. Yeah, I mean, lots of classes are getting slight tweaks here and there. I haven't seen many, like, nerfs. Which probably means that Blizzard have done a fair bit of undertuning so far. So it could be that like a lot of the classes are feeling a little bit subpar at the moment because they haven't felt the love from Blizzard, like buff-wise. So maybe Windwalker's feeling really good right now because a lot of these classes haven't been Omega buff. You know what I mean? Sorry, I was yapping and I completely ignored that these guys asked me a question. You want to do workshop? Yes, I do. Which one's workshop? That's the one we did earlier. But now I know how it works. Shops. Ignore that. It's trying to be funny. It wasn't funny. Season 2 will also show class that will scale with more secondary stats. Some classes just don't scale that well early in the expansion. Yeah, I think this is where the true test of is Haste Walker good comes into play. Because for every expansion known to man, Windwalker has been like, you know, crit burst, hasn't it? Especially in Dragonflight, you could really feel it. Where other classes were scaling upwards, Windwalker was scaling downwards. It was always the issue. It got to the extent where all of our damage was coming from trinkets. Like, if you played Beacon of Beyond, for instance, you would pray that you got the crit on it, so that was where pretty much all of your damage was coming from when playing Windwalker, which it shouldn't be, right? You shouldn't rely on your trinket critting for a good pull. Like, that's just stupid. And that felt pretty bad. Well, it didn't feel bad when you crit, but like, design-wise, that's bad. So I'm really hoping that the change to haste kind of makes us play better and scale into it. They've also made a little bit of mastery change, like we have a bit more mastery. The thing with haste is, what's good about getting more haste is that we should be run into less issues where you run out of energy, like those like early ones. Like if you're ever leveling on a Windwalker in season 1, you'll hit those like massive windows where you have no energy and you just sat there auto attacking. It happens here and there when you're not leveling. Like it's when like you get to the stage now where you no longer have to run inner peace basically on Windwalker, but this was almost like a must-take talent at the start of season 1 because you needed like the extra energy, and the fact that Tiger Palms cost less, it like really helped with our energy issues. But now we're almost at a stage where we don't have energy issues. So my question is, how's haste going to work then for us if we're not really having many energy issues? Is it just going to mean that we're always like got tons of energy, or are we going to actually benefit from it? Because the only real thing that like increases spellcasting wise is Fist of Fury, which, you know, cool, I guess. I guess Celestial Conduit maybe scale with haste on your spell casting. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's it gives you cooldown or anything. Attack speed, but I mean, we're more melee now than we used to be, but we're not like a melee class. Like, where's my melee? Like, okay, cool. It does 1% of my damage. Sweet. Like, so it's, I don't know. I hope that maybe we get a little bit more into our mastery scaling. That could be good, and that would be a good avenue. It means that, like, something like hit combos and stuff would be better for skill expression. Maybe not skill expression, but having more mastery and focusing a bit more on mastery means that hit combos and, you know, combo strikes, they basically go full into the fantasy of the monk of the rotating abilities, and that's where our damage comes from. But realistically, it is going to look like another, like, full-on haste as our main secondary stat angle. Mastery, verse, and crit is still going to be on par with each other, which sounds weird when, like, someone says that. Like, why is mastery going to be on par with crit and verse? Didn't they not just buff mastery? They did, but, like, it's still on par. It's like it hasn't been buffed enough that it becomes our, like, rank 2 secondary stat right now. It's still, like, going to be on par, but it just means we have more base mastery. Like, that's what they buffed, base mastery. So, although I have 12,000 mastery and, like, 5,000 verse, 6,000 crit, or one or the other, most of this mastery comes from just passive, like, not my gear. Let's have an actual look, shall we, while we wait. If we take off our gear, what is, like, Windwalker base mastery? Oh god, I'm getting naked on stream. So look, I'm looking through gear right now. None of it is mastery, right? Is that right? So look, like, baseline... I'll maybe take the ring off, actually. So, like, baseline, we're running about, like, 32% mastery, right? Which is only 4,000. But 32, that's just a lot of mastery. So it's kind of a little bit deceptive about how much mastery you actually have. So even though, like, it looks like the higher number here, raw number-wise, mastery, you're only rocking about 4,000. It's just the percentages kind of look a little bit skewed. I'm not in the dungeon. I've been yapping. So look, it says 75% mastery, right? Or 61% mastery. It's not, like, when you look at the stats-wise, it's still below haste. And it's got, like, a little bit less than crit. More than crit. Words are hard. Crit and verse, always interchangeable now. 100%. Even if mastery comes out a little bit more on top, crit and verse, like, you could have one verse, like 1,000 crit, or one crit, 1,000 verse. They'd come up the same. They're pretty much on par with each other. Very interchangeable. It's just base mastery is going to be a bit higher now. Yeah. Oh no. Guys, I'm yapping too much. It's what happens when you allow me to talk. Oh god, which dungeon? Oh, I can't get this wrong. It's Mechagon, right? I'm going to run Shadowpan here. I know we just did it last dungeon, but I've run Conduit in this one already. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of a comparison. How does the Mastery buff feel? Will it be taken over Versa now? I think I kind of answered that. I only just read the question. I went a bit on like a bit of a yap there. I think it's hard to tell, like, until the sims are out, like, it's really hard to tell what's going to be our, like, best secondary stats, because realistically a computer's always going to tell us more than what we know. It's just how it is these days with simuling your character and best builds. Haste is still going to be top, like, that's almost a definite, right? But from, like, reading what, like, the theory crafters have been talking about, the people that actually run the APLs in the Monk Discord, it's looking like they're still going to be, like, equal to each other. Which sounds weird, but it just is how it is. Like, if I had to say, I'd say Mastery second, but, like, not like a set second, like a... If Crit and Verse are 3, then Mastery is like a 2.75. If that does that make sense? What is this? Oh, +5. That's fine. Just building up Crackling Jade Lightning stacks at the moment. This boss is like the only boss in this dungeon that I didn't really understand what was going on. Maybe there was a bit too much going on for me to like comprehend when I was doing it. All I can hear is detonate, detonate, detonate. I think they're going to blow up, you know. I might be wrong, but I've got a bit of a hunch that those things blow up if you don't interrupt them. Yeah, I'm going to miss doing this solo as tank, not going to lie. What, this dungeon? What do you mean? Like, running it on, like, just general? You have to move the big boy to the hammer. Ah, that makes sense. I did notice the hammer when I ran this earlier. It does make sense. The first trash pack, you were able to get the trash in this room and basically solo it by utilizing ground effects. Oh, really? So you're saying you could cheese it then? I mean, maybe you can still do that, or did it look like a little bit different to what it was before, that it doesn't look like it's possible now? I mean, to be honest, that sounds like something they probably wouldn't want you doing. Yeah. 3 stacks of plating armor, 3 hammer. I've been told in Discord, don't worry. Okay. He's been told in Discord. I'm just going to focus the big tank. Why? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Basically, because this guy gets a shield on himself, right? I don't want to be attacking the boss that gets a shield on himself. Oh, it seems I'm tanking this one now. Okay. Okay. Please, sir, Mr. Tank, would you mind, would you mind taunting? Oh, he looks like he's, the yard? Ground pound? I don't like the sound of that. I'm out of there. Oh, no, don't like the sound of this either. I'm back. Oh. Okay, dude. I'm going to go on the assumption that we just needed to move these bosses a little bit faster, because this entire zone was so crowded. And then these saws came out of the ground and just pushed me back. Maybe I was a little slow on the uptake there. Although you're definitely not punished for killing one boss before the other, which is real nice, because I don't like that mechanic that much. It can be really awkward in the newer dungeons to like have to time the 2 bosses perfectly with each other, otherwise you wipe. Like Stonevault was notorious for it right? Like, especially before they nerfed it, if like you even out slightly, you just got super punished. And like if there are dots rolling on a boss, for instance, you just kind of, yeah, it feels awful. I get why the mechanic's a thing, like it obviously makes sense. 2 bosses, they probably do need to die at the same time, but it always did feel a little bit bad when your dungeon got tanked. Did we fail? No shot. Oh no. Windwalker Monk tank meta, let's go. I'm not sure. I think Brewmaster finally got some changes. I might be incorrect. I know that they hadn't had any changes at all. for like weeks on the PTR, which looked a little bit concerning. But I think they might have got some changes. I haven't looked too deeply into it. I do play Brewmaster here and there, but not like enough where I need to look at the patch notes to know what's changed. Oh, they implemented an rage effect. I didn't notice it. I did press on the boss, because usually it shows like a little icon under the boss if they've got a buff from the other one dying. But you might be right. That might be why they wiped. They're kind of discussing boss tactics. That's why we weren't pulling. But it didn't seem necessary to really go over what they were talking about. They're just talking about the placing stacks, really. That's about it. And why they didn't fall off. We need to move the boss, right? We're getting surrounded by bombs. This happened last time as well. Like I can't hit anything. All right, they're moving it over this way, kind of. Don't you dare flip me. Stop flipping me. Aha, Transcendence. You like that? Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, did you? Okay, we've done this a lot better then. We've definitely got them down at the same time, more or less. Ow. Note to self, I can get hit by the hammer. New electrical storm deals increased damage when one boss dies until the other one does. At least that's what the patch note said. Oh, you might be right then. I just didn't feel it because I was dead. Okay, yeah, that is annoying then. It revoked everything that I said. But yeah, because I can definitely see the tank getting killed before the guy that you've got a hammer, just because everybody's going to be kind of focusing that one more because the other one's taking less damage. Definitely going to be a wiper. But at least it's the first boss of the dungeon, right? So if you wipe, you can just... You haven't, like, spent half an hour on that keystone. Lore POV. Bruh. Ooh, this chain lightning is going to slap. Crikey. A little bit awkward with the trash packs here, actually. I found this with Celestial Conduit as well. There's a lot of, like, 2 packs, and then they go into, like, a big pack. So you kind of almost need to, like, time your big cooldowns. Otherwise, you're going to end up using them on, like, a really small pack, and that's going to feel atrocious. Like, not bad to, like, fight those big ones and build up your chain lightning. That's kind of good. But I think it's, like, having your big cooldowns up for these bigger packs. Otherwise, you're just fighting 2. Not so bad on Shadowpan. I don't think our big cooldown window matters too much. We're less bursty on Shadow Pan, more like consistent damage. But on Celestial Conduit, it will really matter. So, I mean, really, there could be like an argument that maybe Celestial Conduit builds better in some dungeons than others. I mean, I could definitely see that being the case. Enhanced Shaman kind of pumping right now, and he's not the Tremor build. Oh, don't even get me started on the Tremor build. I hate looking over a Shaman's DPS, and all it is Tremor Totem, and I just facepalm. Tremor Totem and Wind Fury. And, like, in my mind, that means they press one button and auto attack. Obviously, probably not that simple, but in my mind, that's literally all they do. But when I see, like, the Lightning build, I'm like, ah, this guy, he's pressing different buttons. Okay, okay, I'm impressed, I'm impressed. Tremor nerfed and Stormbringer buffed. Don't worry, you won't see it much anymore. Ah, that's alright then. Like, yeah, we, like, a lot of bosses in Raid as well, like, obviously our Enhanced Shaman would be top DPS, no surprise. And, like, you'd look at, like, his damage on Ovanax, for instance. The entire damage, like, details is straight up just Tremor Totem. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm here, like, sweating, playing for my life, spinning, like, using different buttons every ability, weaving things in, making sure I line up cooldowns. These guys, they press a Tremor Totem every 30 seconds. Obviously not that simple, I know, but in my mind. Press Tremor Totem, top DPS. But maybe that's not too bad. Maybe that's, like, a good reason why Shadow Pan, like, is going to be a bit more simpler. Because it's good DPS, and it's not as, like, intensive. Tremor is stupid, does way too much. Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it does do too much. I don't really have anything to add to that yet. Yes, I agree. See, this is another one. This is probably a room where I'd say pull all of the Junkyard Dogs, because otherwise I'm holding CDs right now. So, like, when, like, live or something, it probably makes sense to pull everything. This boss, for anyone unfamiliar, relatively simple. Anytime you cast Venting Flames, you need to get behind this box, otherwise you pretty much get one shot. Boxers go red. He spawns boxers throughout the fight. I thought that was a player running back in. No, it's just a wolf. Don't stand near the boxers once they're red, otherwise they'll explode on you, and it hurts. And basically, it's just, don't... Like, we'll get a mechanic now where we get a circle underneath us. You just don't want to stack it on the boxes. Like, he leaps. The idea is to not have him, like, leap on top of a box. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a box, right? But yeah, now he's going to do it again. You don't want to go behind the red box. Obviously, that one's about to go kaboom. Yeah. And then you stand behind the box that isn't kaboom. Loads of people died there. I didn't. I preemptively popped a defensive because I didn't trust that we're going to die there. Probably a good thing. Why we... Come back! Stop running! Just be the tank, bro. Oh my god, he kept running away from me. Right, Crackling Jade Lightning, do it. No, we gotta kill him. This damn mage couldn't have just ice blocked. He was taking him miles away from me. I can res, right? Oh no, healer's up. No Strike of the Windlord? No. So, yeah, that's one of the surprising things about this build. Is that it's all Blackout Kick focused, a little bit of Rising Sun Kick. But you no longer, if you're going this Lightning build, like, people have, like, run the numbers. And this is just, like, the best current build at the moment. And you just don't take Strike of the Windlord. Because Strike of the Windlord really isn't that strong an ability. It was a lot stronger in Dragonflight. And people have the impression like it's a really good ability, but it's actually not. I'd say the best part of Strike of the Windlord is Gale Force, which is the talent underneath it that does, like, amp damage. Not amp damage, but it, like, does additional damage. Here, let me get the talent up. Basically, when you cast Strike of the Windlord, like, any abilities used afterwards for 10 seconds, you'll deal, like, extra nature damage. That was the best part of Strike of, that's the best part of Strike of the Windlord, is the, additional nature damage. And that's what makes it so good with Celestial Conduit as well, besides, obviously, the synergies with Heart of the Jade, yada yada. So, it kind of makes sense that you remove this entire, like, side here, because Strike's not good, Thunder Fist kind of meh. The only thing that really big loss Gale Force, but then you get all of this down here, you get extra Blackout Kick damage, and it's just an entire Blackout Kick build, and it comes out really, really strong. It doesn't really affect energy or anything like that. Yeah. Not much more to say about it, to be honest. It's just basically not as strong as you might think it is. Like, you think, like, if you look at the talent Strike of the Windlord, it's like its own node, it's really far down on the tree. It's got a lot of, like, talents that kind of synergize with it, but really, it's kind of weak. And that's why a lot of people wanted Strike of the Windlord to be a node with Slicing Winds. It's, like, kind of awkward that Slicing Winds all the way down here. Because if it was a node, with Strike of the Windlord, you take it every time over Strike of the Windlord. You just would. It'd be stronger. Relatively weak ability. If you, like, look at your damage breakdown next time you do a dungeon or whatnot, and actually look at Thunder Fist and Strike of the Windlord's damage, relatively weak. And in single targets, it is atrocious. Better in AoE, or obviously because of Thunder Fist and everything like that, but in single target especially, it doesn't really do anything. I mainly used it for spinning crane kick buff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that's what everyone was using it for. It was, with Rushing Jade Wind, you get your full stacks. And that was one of, like, the big perks of it as well. But now that's no longer a thing. We don't need that dirty ability anymore on Shadow Pam. We Blackout Kick now. Oh god, no. Risk it, risk it, risk it. Roll. Uh-oh. Oh, no. We're about to go into the Doom room, aren't we? Oh, no, no, there's a boss first. We're good, we're good. I don't have to embarrass myself just yet. Yeah, a node would make it a lot better, but... I mean, like, the people that, like, the Windwalkers that actually have contact with Blizzard and stuff, and, like, or, like, have... like ways of managing to actually talk to like Blizzard or give ideas about what Windwalker should be. I mean, they've said, they've made their post, their blue post and all that. The issue with Windwalker and changes is that we don't get a lot of changes mid-tier. Like, there were so many concerns in Dragonflight about our talent tree, about issues with it, how things just didn't make sense, and it took until the War Within for them to make any real changes to our talent tree at all. Whereas Rogue, you know, they got a massive rework. Shadow Priest got like 5 reworks. Paladin got their rework in their talents. Like, there were loads of classes got like reworks and stuff, but we were just left out to dry. So it's... Uh-oh. No. No, God, please, no. So it's kind of not... Oh, no. It's kind of nice to see us get... quite a bit of, like, support, I guess, on this PTR. It's surprising, really. Like, when you think Windwalker, you don't think that we're going to get many changes at all from a PTR, but we're getting lots at the moment. So maybe they just got a brand new Windwalker developer that doesn't just think we're we're a forgotten class spec, even. Yeah, the amount of times Shadow Priest got their nerfs reverted is insane. Yeah, Shadow Priest were, like, probably the most changed class in in Dragonflight. They were changed all the time. Like, if you played Shadow Priest, and then, like, didn't play it for a week, or... a week's a bit short. Didn't play it for a month, you'd come back to almost, like, a different spec. And that was, like, it was, like, constant as well. They just... I don't think they knew what they wanted to do with it. I'd rather be an Well, would I? I don't know. I'd rather be like a consistent unloved class than being like Shadow Priest position where you get all these changes and then they're constantly changing. You've constantly got to relearn how your spec works. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. At least we don't have that. Focus ads, hard prio, Turl. I imagine he means turret. This is kind of a chill boss. It's all just dodging, really. I like it a lot more than the first boss. Second boss is a little bit boring, the dog. Like, you know, nothing really happens. It has, like, 2 mechanics you don't really have to think about. This boss is the first one where you think about it. And even though I died, like, 2 times on the last boss last run, I do kind of like the last boss as well. Trash in this dungeon? A little bit meh, to be honest. What? Oh, I just got zapped by a cannon that spawned. Okay, sure. Why not? Was it the cannon or was it the laser? No, it was the... I got hit by a line and it dotted me. That's my own fault then. Yeah, I think the trash in this dungeon's a bit meh. Nothing's been that exciting. Feels a little bit awkward for Windwalker at times. Like, just because you get trash packs of maybe, like, 1 or 2, and then you get trash packs of, like, 8. A little bit inconsistent, not the best for us. Makes cooldown times a little bit awkward. Boss-wise, yeah, I think I just said. I like the last 2, because they're a little bit more mechanical. Cujo's fine, seems simple enough. Tusk Tanks just seems really awkward, and not fun. There's too much going on, I think. Like, too much going on. Like, you're just getting hit by bombs, or you're getting hit by saws, and then you gotta bring the boss into a hammer, and the other one's charging you away. There's just a bit too much going on. Isn't this why we sneak out? Am I crazy? Isn't this... Oh, we've already done the sneak part. Where's the king? That spider tank looks ominous. You guarding the king, bro? Where did this guy come from? He just came from the other side of the dungeon. Oh, I know where we are. We're about to take the little ship to the boss. Alright, we've learned from our mistakes. We're not going to get one-shot by this boss this time. There's no possible universe where I stand underneath the boss when he shoots his laser. Oh, this guy needs to pee real bad. You're going to have to hold it, mate. We're on the clock here. We've got a Mecha King to destroy. You're going to have to hold it. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, no. What is this group? Ow. Nothing worse than, like, ads that do melee damage. Wait, no, that came out wrong. There's nothing worse than ads that, like, just do AoE melee things. Like, never happens to range. It's always melee that get that. And a lot of these dungeons do. Specifically Necrotic Wake, from what I've seen. Like, oh my god. Everything does, like, a AoE get screwed melee. Unlucky mechanic. This one not so bad, but there are still a lot of ads that do it. I popped all my cooldowns on the last set. Kind of out of juice. That's a lie. I'm never out of juice. I'm so juiced up. This is like probably the best trash for Windwalker in the entire dungeon, to be honest. Like 2 nice big pulls. Alright, King. This time it's personal. Where's my tank? I said you're not allowed to go to the toilet. Pull the boss. We need to move this boss, otherwise we're going to get absolutely destroyed by these circles. Do we care? It looks like a not care angle. Okay, fair enough. Understandable. We don't care. We're just going to tank him in the same spot. Don't gigas at me. Okay, this is it. Move as far away from the boss as possible. We learn from our mistakes here. Still hurts. It still hurts. I thought I was going to get one shot when I wasn't even getting zapped. That would have been amazing. Ah, so you think the boss is dead. Nice and easy. Bad news, everybody. He's got a phase 2. And he ain't messing around. Oh, thanks, Necrotic. Oh, wow, no, you tipped. Oh, sorry, I thought you just subbed. Oh, no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so awkward when... I'm so awkward. No, like, genuinely, thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay. So... this is kind of a little bit hectic, but it's not. I think there's going to be a way that you can really, like, optimize this. Like, you can... I think the electric balls can kind of, like, get baited. So, yeah. This is kind of like a simple thing, but at the same time, it can be really awkward. It definitely goes towards player location, so I think if you stay as a group, unlike what we're doing right now, you could definitely find a way to make this easy. You stay as a group, dodge the orbs, and then on top of that, you just have one person move out when they get the massive laser. I don't think you're going to want to be playing it like we are, where everybody's spread out. Like, that's really awkward right now. I'm going to zap him. You're done, mate. Why didn't that one-shot him? Fuck me, I'm so stupid. I was staring at him and I just rolled into a ball. Yeah, overall, I'm really happy with Shadowpan in its current iteration. As you can see, Fist of Fury is always going to be your highest damage with Shadowpan, like it's not even close. Spinning Crane Kick will still do alright, but more so, these used to be a lot closer. Fist of Fury is just so strong because of the set piece is one of the main reasons why. Yeah, Fist of Fury just gets a lot of buffs at the moment. As well as that Crackling Jade Lightning, you know. Once again, 9.4% of our damage this time. Like, it's ramping up. Like, when a talent does, like, almost 10% of your damage, you know, there's a reason you take it. And it's because it just does, it's crazy. More than Blackout Kick in a Blackout Kick build, you know what I mean? And there weren't, like, ideal ad sets to use this on at all times. So I'm really happy with Shadowpan. And it's simple to play. I mean, the way I view it is I'm talking this entire time whilst playing the spec, so I'm not really thinking too much about what I'm doing whilst I'm playing, and Shadowpan's perfect for that, which means that for someone just beginning Windwalker, who is focusing on it, you're going to have such an easy time with Shadowpan. It does good damage, and it's a really good way to learn Windwalker. I guess learn the fundamentals, I'd say, is the best thing about it. If you like want to practice hit combos, or you want to, you know, be working on the mastery, or optimizing like how you use our CC and stuff, you're not punished too much by using CC, Ring of Pieces, you know, paralysis and stuff. Whereas with Celestial Conduit, you are you're punished quite a lot. You really can't be using them that much in your burst windows, and if you have to, because obviously you're going to wipe, you're going to lose a lot of damage. So those are my big takeaways so far from the 2 builds in M+, is that I'd say Shadowpan's going to be a lot like easier for learning and getting used to it. The Celestial Conduit is very high risk, high reward almost. Imagine we could have a new animation for Fist of Fury. What sort of animation would you want? I kind of like the frontal. I mean, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I think the one thing that could be better about the Fist of Fury animation is actually an accurate visual of where it goes. Because it looks like you're punching dead ahead, right? But it's actually like a cone. Fist of Fury is like a cone sort of thing. And it's also really hard to tell how far do I have to be away from a target to Fist of Fury it. Like, there's no true animation for that. You just kind of punch in the air, right? So I get what you mean from that perspective. That would be kind of useful, wouldn't it? Like, yeah, let's, like, you're targeted on this. How close do you have to be to Fist of Fury, right? Oh, probably should get some chi first. So I can Fist of Fury this target. That's not right. I shouldn't be able to Fist of Fury it from that far away. Yeah, no. It shouldn't be glowing right now. So you can hit it from there. But, you know, you're not actually hitting it, but you can press it. So really, it's kind of an awkward one. Yeah, let's do another animation show. So, like, here. So you can move all the way out here. And you can press it from here. And you're not damaging it. Even though you can press it, you're not actually hitting it. And I think that's the biggest issue. It allows you to press it before you can even hit the ad. Which is bad, right? I'm just going to leave this group. So it's like, I know you can be closer, but then that also doesn't technically make sense. Because even though I'm not hitting it here, I am hitting it. So like, there's like a dead zone where you can press it and not hit it. But like, you know what I mean? Like, the animation is not really visual. This guy's going absolutely ham at the moment on this raining dummy. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe with Fist of Fury, is that you can press it before you can hit a target, which makes no sense. And then also the animation does not go far enough for you to actually show that you're hitting it, even when you are. And then it doesn't really represent that it's a cone either. You know what? Yeah, okay, I agree. Fist of Fury's horrible animation. They need to update that. Get on that. Put that on the Blizzard forums. I'm sure they'll read it in 4 years' time. What feels better on PTR? Shadowpan or Conduit? Oh, see you later, Necrotic. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. What feels better on PCR? Shadowpan or Conduit? They both feel good. I did just do a massive spiel about it. So, I think I did a massive, just did a massive spiel about it. So if you want to go backwards, like literally 5 minutes, you'll hear me talking about the two and what I think about them. But the TLDR is, I think Shadowpan feels really nice for like people learning Windwalker. And it's a lot simpler at the moment. Like, they've removed, like, Strike of the Windlord's no longer really a thing in the build. It's a lot more focused on just, you know, the central abilities of Zwan, Storm, Earth, and Fire, Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury, and a bit more emphasis on Blackout Kick. It's a lot, I suppose I said simpler a few times now. It's a lot more user-friendly. You no longer have to worry about stacking up Spinning Crane Kick. You can, like, for me, for instance, I can play this without thinking about it. Like, I can talk on stream. Whereas if I'm playing Conduit with Celestial and I'm talking at the same time, I can make quite a few mistakes on it. So Celestial is a little bit harder to play, but I think it's higher reward, especially if you're playing it perfectly with like the new Heart of the Jade tech. Like, you can get some really long burst windows out, and it's like crazy what you can do. But Shadowpan's going to be a lot more consistent and easier for people that's just starting Windwalker Monk. So it's quite nice in that regard. More or less from testing and like hearing what other Windwalkers said, it looks like Conduit the Celestial might be the main raid build in its current iteration, whereas Shadowpan might be more likely to be the like more Mythic Plus build, just because it's more consistent in M+. Whereas Conduit, you're relying so heavily on those burst windows. If you end up pulling like awkward pack amounts that don't line up well with your burst windows, you either have to hold them for too long or use them at the wrong time. Whereas Conduit, you don't have that. as Shadowpan, you don't have that. It's a lot more consistent. It's not the end of the world if you're popping Zuin on a smaller pack. I like Shadowpan Flurry animation. Your character looks like they're investing in the move. I don't know how to describe that. Oh yeah, the Flurry Strike animation's good. One thing to note about Flurry Strikes, though, is that you always have to be near your target when it goes off. If we look at this number here, 3, if I get a full cast off of Flurry Strikes, for instance, it should go to -7. Don't worry about why it does that. It's just how the tracker works. So it should go to -7. However, if I pop it, hit a few, and then move away, it only goes to 5. Okay, so it would be -5 if that makes sense. So I've actually not hit all of my Flurry Strikes. You have to be in like a certain radius of your target, otherwise you don't actually hit it, even when the animation's going off. Yeah, that's something that people don't always know about Flurry Strikes, is that you pretty much have to be near your target. If you like Flurry Strike and then roll out for a mechanic or move away, you don't hit all of them. You have to be right next to your target, and we're talking real close as well. So but the animation looks cooler. The animation is really cool for Flurry Strikes when you actually get a chance to look at it. Alright guys, I'm just going to take a quick, 5 minutes just to get some water and stuff. Because I've been yapping. Professional yapper alert. Just get some water. Maybe a cup of tea, actually. I'm very British. I love tea. I'll be right back. Let's put a cheeky 5 minutes there. And then we'll run some more dungeons, and I'll do some more Conduit the Celestial, I think. I think Conduit Celestial will be nice to try out, and then maybe I can kind of explain what I mean by, if you just tuned in, for instance, I've been kind of hyping up Conduit the Celestial, saying it's like a lot harder to play at the moment than Shadowpan. So let's see that in a dungeon then. What actually makes it harder, you know? So we'll go through that. But yeah, 5 minutes. Water time. Yeah, bottle of water time. Oh god. Oh my god, it's back early. Yes, what was I talking about? Conduit the Celestial. So, it makes sense to kind of show you on target dummies why it's harder than Shadow Pan. So if you've been watching for like, I don't know, the past even half an hour or so, you've seen like Shadow Pan, it's kind of simplistic. But you probably haven't seen me play Conduit because I only ran it once at the start of the stream. And now these little action bars here at the top, they're going to make sense now. So you're probably looking at these like, why does he have a flying serpent kick and a random green orb? Makes no sense. It's all it's a celestial conduit tracker, basically, for Heart of the Jade Serpent. On live, I'm not going to have these buttons. It's just because on the PTR it's really awkward to track Slicing Winds and Heart of the Jade Serpent. This will probably be integrated into Luxlos if you run Luxlos, but at the moment it's not really. So let's fly over to these target dummies. So Shadow Pan, really simple, right? You're doing standard AoE rotation, nothing much changes, crackling Jade Lightning every so often. Simple enough, good consistent damage. Celestial Conduit is a lot more complicated now. So it's not just standard AoE rotation, Celestial Conduit on pull, do big damage, right? Now you've got to take into account Strike of the Windlord. Taking into account Strike of the Windlord now changes the opener significantly. Because every time you strike with the Windlord, you're going to get this cooldown buff. And this cooldown buff is everything now, the Celestial Conduit. You want this buff up as much as possible because it's going to reduce the cooldown of Slicing Winds. Strike of the Windlord itself, Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury's channel is going to be shorter. Like, everything revolves around this buff here. And it's a 6-second buff you get every time you cast Strike of the Windlord, and every time Unity within procs when you do a Celestial Conduit. You can activate it yourself midway through if you want to. I'd advise you always activate it yourself. Because there is a bug where sometimes it doesn't activate. Which is nice, and that bug has not been fixed from what I know. So always, when you cast Celestial Conduit, always press it again just before it ends. That way you proc Unity within yourself and you won't end up with that bug. Because that will feel really bad. So, why does the opener change? Why is it such a big deal? Well, in theory, what you're going to want to be doing is opening, and then Strike of the Windlord is like, once you've managed to get about like 3 or 4 stacks of hit combos, you Strike of the Windlord, then you start popping all your big cooldowns, because they're on super short cooldowns, Slicing Winds and all of that, and then once that buff drops off, then you Conduit the Celestials, activate Unity within, get that cooldown rolling again, pop all your abilities, and then by the time you finish with that one, Strike of the Windlord's almost off cooldown again, and you do it again. So that's what I mean by it's a lot more complex. I guess I'll just show like a rough idea of what it will look like. So double Tiger Palm to start, just to get some chi. Slicing Winds, and now you're on about 5 stacks. And now you see it's popped. All your cooldowns coming off of like super fast cooldowns. Fist of Fury again here. And now, then you use Celestial Conduit, activate it again. Now you've got that Jade Serpent again going. So now you press everything again really fast. And now look, what do we see? Strike of the Windlord's up again. So you press that, your cooldowns come off like really fast. Like, see what I mean? It's super high APM. And that's what I mean when I say that, thinking about interrupting here, right? When do you want to like use hard CC or have to cast kick during all of that? Because that's your big burst window. You don't want to be casting anything else other than the damage abilities there. It's going to feel really bad. And that's a lot more complex than just pressing Zwan, Storm, Earth, and Fire, and then the normal abilities when you play Shadow Pan. However, the trade-off is that if you get it right, your damage is insane. Especially on single target, like those burst windows you can do. On PTR testing, I was able to get like 4 million damage on opener at 644 item level. Which is kind of crazy. At the moment, the highest I could get on retail with an opener with Celestial Conduit is about 3 million. So to get 4 million with about the same item level, and it's only going to ramp up, is kind of nutty. So then you've got to take into consideration, when am I going to use my trinket during all of that? The best time to use your trinket, I think, is going to be on your first strike of the Windlord. That way, because it's a 15-second trinket, like 15 seconds, you'll get it for the full Heart of the Jade Serpent buff initially. You get it for your entire Celestial Conduit, and then you'll get it for your entire Celestial Conduit cooldown window. So you see what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like, there's a lot that you have to think about. with Celestial Conduit, but the trade-off is that it's super high damage. So, seems simple. Well, I say seems simple enough. It's not that simple. On a target dummy, you have to think about it, but then now you're gonna have to think about it in a dungeon. What are they doing? We'll do a mother load. I think that's mother load, right? Is this the same group I was already with? It is. I wonder if they'll invite me again. So that's what I mean when I say, like, Shadowpan's going to be a lot nicer for people just getting into Windwalker, because if you put someone straight on Celestial Conduit and tell them to do that, like, I don't even know what the opener's going to look like. Currently our opener's, like, 11 buttons off the top of my head. It's like 11 button opener, but that is looking more like 20. Like, realistically, it's kind of like 20 buttons, maybe more. That you're gonna have to get. Now the order's not definite. Like, for instance, I don't think that order's perfect for what I was doing. The Strike of the Windlord, Celestial Conduit, Strike of the Windlord order's fine, but it's where do you pop the other cooldowns? I'm gonna go on the assumption that you want to Slicing Winds early on. That way you get the ball rolling on the cooldown, and you probably want to. You don't want to Fist of Fury straight off. You want to use Fist of Fury once you've got Strike of the Windlord going. So it's trying to get to those hit combo stacks as fast as possible, and then going for it. But yeah, it's a lot more complex. We can try it again. So Zuin, then you do that, and then, you know. And then you're constantly looking at that Jade Serpent cooldown that's finished, and now Celestial Conduit makes sense to do. There's a lot going on. But, like, you're always pressing buttons, and it's always, like, your highest prio one. You can see, like, you're getting tons of damage. I think I was doing I did a mother load earlier on at the start of the stream, and I was able to get, like, roughly 10 million burst damage, not even playing it optimally. So, high burst windows is what this entire build's around. Outside of the burst windows, you're doing moderate damage. Nothing, like, to write home about. It's nothing crazy, nothing exciting. But it is completely about these burst windows. And that's good, and that's bad as well. Like, in some dungeons, that's going to work well, but in other dungeons, it's not. And that's what I mean by the dungeon I just did, the Mechagon, where you have packs of 2 adds, and then sometimes packs of 7. But if your cooldowns come off, like, your cooldowns are all up for that 2-pack, you don't want to pop them then, because you're going to nuke those adds down, fine, but you're wasting all your resources on such a small amount of adds that it's almost like the trade-off of, do I hold them for the next pack? But then you don't want to be holding your cooldowns for the entire dungeon, and that just feels really bad. So that's why I think there's a lot of focus on this Crackling Jade Lightning build being maybe better for Mythic Plus. Whereas you don't really have that so much in raiding. In raiding, the burst windows kind of work better. Because you wouldn't be running Crackling Jade Lightning anyway in raid, and you probably wouldn't be running Slicing Winds. So you'd be running one of these 2 single target builds, which kind of look the same, to be honest. The only difference is that now you're no longer running Slicing Winds, so you go down more the middle, Conduit the Celestial. And then for Shadowpan single target, the only real difference is that you are kind of down the middle as well, but you're putting more into Rushing Jade, Jade Ignition, and then you've got Communion with the Wind. So these builds are pretty much the exact same on paper, where you don't have any additional abilities. But because they're so similar, what's going to be better? Your burst windows or your consistent damage? And usually Shadowpans come out on top at the moment in retail, because it's more consistent. So Celestial Conduit falls off the longer the fight is. But now with the increased cooldown from every Strike of the Windlord, it's probably not going to be that bad. Because the issue was before, it was maybe every 2 Strike of the Windlords at a push, if you were lucky. Because it was like every 45 chi you spent, then your next Strike of the Windlord does it. Now it's every Strike of the Windlord. So suddenly, you're getting all your cooldowns up all the time. You're completely hasted up. I am late for this dungeon again. This group must hate me. I don't know why they accepted me again. But for any of you, like, players that want a bit of a, more of a challenge, a bit more of a, like, test of how you can min-max Windwalker, Celestial Conduit's looking the way. It's looking real fun. It's going to be definitely the more skill expression, and I'd be surprised if you look at Warcraft logs, it's going to be, like, the top logs are probably going to be people using Celestial Conduit and, like, perfecting it to a T. Because like 1 or 2 misplaced abilities in the opener rotation, or even the every 1 minute 30 rotation, and it's gonna be night and day. You're gonna like fall off a lot. Like not using a slicing winds in like your first like 4 abilities, for instance, suddenly you haven't got it on cooldown. You've lost tons of damage on slicing winds. Using Celestial Conduit before you strike of the Windlord, suddenly you've lost an entire Heart of the Jade buff cycle. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of target that we practice, I think, to get it perfected. But it's really fun, so... Okay. Well, that's my healer one shot. Do I want to pop on my cooldowns here? I guess so. Oh, you're joking me. I went single target talents to just demonstrate the single target talents, and I'm in single target talent. I'll retalent in a sec. Oh my god. Sometimes I question my brain. This healer is getting one-shot by stuff. I do need to retalent. I don't want to... For starters, I don't want to be running single target in a dungeon. Second, I want to be playing Conduit of the Celestials. I did think something was weird when my Heart of the Jade buff didn't pop. Also, the fact that it's missing off my bars kind of matters. Alright, let me retalent real quick. I should be okay too. As long as I don't Flying Serpent Kick. If I Flying Serpent Kick, that's not going to let me do it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm on the clock. Cock Mythic. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. It looks more like the build I was going for. Oh my god. For all of you that don't know, if you ever get this affix on yourself, you can always diffuse magic it, but the better thing to do is just to detox yourself. It completely removes it. It means if you're not running with someone like a priest that constantly removes it, you can just get it off yourself instantly. You also want to... It looks like you want to be running detox for this dungeon. A lot of poison dots on you throughout it. So we have all our cooldowns, but this is what I mean. We have one big ad here. I have all my cooldowns up. Do I really want to pop them all on this? Not really. That's such a waste of my resources. Oh, but then he pulls this. Okay, never mind. Bruh. I don't really like running lighter than air. I don't know how you guys feel. But personally, I don't like lighter than air. The talent that lets you dash back. I think it's an awkward talent to use. But running a lot of these legacy dungeons, a lot of things knock you back or knock you up in the air. It might actually be a lighter than air angle for some of these dungeons, just to get back down quicker or to avoid full damage. Obviously, Transcendence is a alternative, but you only get that like every so often. Whereas lighter than air, you can get every time you roll. Another thing I'm thinking about with Conduit of the Celestials is, do you hold Strike of the Windlord now? Because a lot of the damage from Conduit of the Celestials is going to come from Gale Force, which is like a 10-second active damage, like additional damage on top of any damage you do 10 seconds after you cast Strike of the Windlord. And it can do upwards of like 6% of your damage overall. So I think it might be worth almost holding a Strike of the Windlord just before you do your combo. But then, are you going to lose too much damage by holding? It's one of the things that really needs a little bit more testing, and honestly, some APL to like to realistically say yes it will, or no it won't. So see, I popped everything here, but it's all died. So now all my big cooldowns are gone. But this pack dies so quickly that, you know, I kind of lose a lot of my resources doing that. It'll feel a lot better on higher keystone levels, I think. This is a +6, so things die faster, and because of that, burst damage kind of gets a little bit negated. It's a hidden affix. Things die too fast. We going? Yeah? You want to do the hunt? Nope, we're not hunting? Fine. Oh my gosh. Where's everybody gone? Am I next? Okay. Healer just got one shot there. I think he stood in something. And then everybody else just kind of dropped. Where is that gone? There we are. Oh no, don't be offline. We just started. We died to one pack. Come on, don't be like that. Who comes on the PTR to go offline when you wipe? This isn't retail, guys. Come on, you don't have to just dip from a dungeon because you die. Like, well, why even log on for the PTR if you're just gonna just alt F4 on a wipe? That's really misrepresentative. Slicing winds is not my #1 damage overall. It's because I had to switch builds midway through. But you see what I mean? If you look at Gale Force, that kind of is a good representation. Like, it's already doing 5% of my damage overall, and all of that is going to come from Celestial Conduit right after you strike the Windlord. Like, the damage that you do from Celestial Conduit itself, or the damage that you do from the abilities that you're getting massive cooldown on. So it's why there's a good argument for holding Strike of the Windlord. Healer's power went out. Okay. Okay. The other guy's a pussy, okay. A 12. Yeah, go on then. I'll do a 12 if they let me in. They are monks. They should let me in, right? Like, monks strong together. What? Why are we pulling this? I thought we gave up because the healer's power went out. I guess not. Oh my lord. Why did we pull this? I've only got to survive for 20 more seconds and then I get halved out. Oh no. No, 10 seconds. Easy. It's just that easy, guys. Just run away. I'd like to do this +12, but I haven't been invited yet. They haven't invited any other DPS, so I'm not sure if they're just AFK. I'll do a Mechagon's Workshop, and I'll queue up for the 10 as well. I don't mind doing any of those. A 10 would kind of be cool. Things won't die too fast, and if the dungeon's overtuned, we won't get one shot, ideally. I just need someone to accept a Windwalker monk. To be honest, I haven't found getting into dungeons too hard in the PCR. I've been declined from a few. Which is kind of funny, really, when you think about it. Like, getting declined from a dungeon on the PTR. Like, what do you mean? We're all testing stuff here, but it's like, nah, but you're a Windwalker monk. We don't want that here. Alright, I got invited for the 10, so we'll just do that. The only dungeon I haven't done so far is... No, actually, that's a lie. I've done them all. For some reason, I thought I hadn't done a dungeon. It's because there's only 3 legacy dungeons. There are 3 Legacy dungeons, the 1 new one, Floodgate, and then the other 4 from the War Within expansion. I think, realistically, I think all the Legacy dungeons are fine. I think the worst one is probably Motherlode, actually. Oh, that's a lie. I haven't fully tested Motherlode. Yeah, I've done it a few times, but we kept we wiped on the football boss and the group disbanded, and then we just wiped then, and the healer's power went out. So okay, yeah, I haven't fully tested that one. So I can only really talk about the 2 of them. Theatre of Pain felt alright. I don't remember the dungeon at all, but everyone in the group was saying there were new mechanics. They didn't seem too bad. They seemed fairly reasonable. The trash wasn't too bad. The bosses were just took a little bit of learning. Operation Mechagon feels quite bad in the fact that there's a lot of different ad pack sizes. In the fact that there's either a 2-pack here or a 7-pack here, and there's no real consistency. So you kind of get a little bit screwed over with burst windows. So I wouldn't probably run Celestial Conduit in that one. Doesn't make any sense. Motherlode, I think, is fine for Celestial Conduit. There's a lot of big ad packs, and Theatre of Pain as well. It's almost perfect. There's a lot of 3 to 5 packs, which is like the Monk sweet spot. I've completely forgot what dungeon this is. It's Operation Mechagon. Is that the dungeon I just said that you shouldn't run Celestial Conduit in? I'm gonna do it anyway for science. Why are we halfway through the dungeon? Oh no. Why are we halfway through the dungeon? Did I kill myself? Okay, inflicting damage, but it doesn't. So whoever had this dungeon last did not reset the instance after they tanked it. So now we are stuck here. There's got to be a way to... No, because this is where you respawn, so killing myself would do nothing, right? Oh, why have they bricked me like this? Is there a way out? I don't think so, because you just land in the garbage heap, don't you, when you kill the first boss? So running back this way isn't going to do anything. Yeah, it's fine to reset the instance now. Now that I'm trapped in here. You fought me? Take me back to the surface. Can I ping for this guy? Okay. I'm just going to go back to the surface. Oh, where am I now? Is this the dungeon entrance? Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, a little bit annoying. I thought I was trapped down there for eternity. I didn't have a Hearthstone either, so I guess there was no way of getting out of there. Alright, so this is a +10. This first room is going to feel really nice for Conduit, and then the trash afterwards is going to feel atrocious. But we should get a good representation of what sort of damage you can do on a 10. So I think you get scaled, I'm going to say 650 is what the scaling is, which is like about what you should be a week or 2 into the new tier, right? If you play every day of your life and just sesh it. Probably not everybody's going to sesh it. I will sesh it. But that's because I need to gear up for Mythic. I get to sesh it on 3 characters. Yahoo! How exciting is that? Have I mentioned that I don't like ults? Talk to the... Oh, we can just summon him? Wait, how do you get out of here? No, we can't get out of here. Hold on. There is a dude on the rubbish who take the surface. Hopefully he understands what I mean by that, because we can't get out of this, Oh, can we? Oh, yeah, we can if we want to. Although I don't think anybody's putting out of here. Make sure we have the right talents this time. That was a little bit cringe. yeah, Gale Force, Slicing Winds, Zuon's Bond. I did say I was going to test out Transfer of Power with this build, but I just think it's really awkward. I feel like not being able to have Zuon on a 1 minute 30 timer kind of defeats the entire point of Celestial Conduit. Like, and you're not trading anything else out, right? You've already lost Dual Threat and Transfer of Power. Like, that's pretty bad to lose. Like, Dual Threat is pretty rough to lose. You're not getting rid of Revolving Wind, Sequence Strikes, or any of that. So the only alternative would to get rid of something like Fury of Zuon and Zuon's Battle Gear, and there's no way in hell you're getting rid of those talent nodes. So really, this is kind of like the locked-in build for Slicing Winds. There might be a little variation. Potentially not Rushing Jade Wind, but Rushing Jade Wind synergizes so well with Flight of the Red Crane that you'd kind of be foolish to not take it. It's kind of like Strike of the Windlord. Strike of the Windlord kind of sucks. Like, Loki is bad, but firstly, you have to take it anyway to get to Slicing Winds. But as well as that, it synergizes so well with the hero talent that you can't not take it. This guy is completely stuck, isn't he? I think he's just given up. I'm just gonna talk to this guy and try to summon him. Because he didn't even respond in party chat. He's accepted his fate. He's down in the rubbish dumps. Where's the summoning stone? I want to get in this key. Who knew forming the group would be the hardest part? Alright, tanks got out. No, you don't have to mount up. You summoning stone. Bro thought he was about to, like, walk across the world to go find this summoning stone. Alright. Kind of a interesting comp. I haven't actually seen that many druids so far in the PTR. The PTR is completely flooded with monks, paladins, and shamans. I don't know if it's just because those are like the 3 main classes that have a lot of reworks. Or like, not reworks, but like actual buffs. I've seen like literally 0 warriors, and I've played like 6 days of PCR. I see a few demon hunters here and there. I've seen like 0 rogues. Absolutely 0 rogues. Yeah, there's not a lot of class diversity on the PTR. I don't know if it's just because nothing's really been changed with them, so they don't care at all. Alright, this is going to go either perfectly, and we're going to hit a nice 10 million damage, or it's going to go atrocious, and I'm going to die. There's no like middle ground. It will be one of those two. I'll try do the former, you know? The latter doesn't sound as fun. It just depends how many of these Decimate casts go through. As I was saying, the issue with Windwalker is I don't want to be using my CC. Which sounds really bad, but you really don't. Using RCC is going to feel atrocious. Oh, you're making me use my CC and I really don't want to. I'm an idiot sandwich. Otherwise, that was going really well. I just can't dodge bombs to save my life. Surprise, surprise. You can see how much Gale Force does, and the main reason I'm saying like you pretty much have to strike the Windlord first before you use Celestial Conduit is if you don't do that, you'll do no Gale Force damage, whereas it did like 7% of all my damage there, which is a lot for a talent that is completely like passive. You don't really have to think about. It's like just a damage, like I don't know how to say what it is. It's like damage that is added to damage you already do. It kind of looks like Zuon, where Zuon like does damage based on how much damage you've done previously. Yep, I explained it perfectly. You know what I mean. And if you don't, just pretend that you do. It makes me feel good. My healer is dead? Thoughts? Probably want to res that guy. Alright, we got him back up. Yeah, this is my least favorite boss in the dungeon. I think there's just too much going on. It's really chaotic. Like, it's fine for some fights to have a lot going on, but this just feels like a lot. Like, for a 2-boss fight, you usually want, like, a few mechanics. These guys do loads. There's, like, loads to think about. You've got to dodge things on the floor. You've got to move one of the bosses under a hammer. This guy constantly flips you. It's really bloody annoying. You got to make sure they don't die at the same time. Like, something like Operation Floodgate, for instance. That's a 2-boss fight, and they have, like, 2 mechanics. Blow up bombs and charge the boss and don't stand in the lines. Like, it's really rather simple. This just feels like there's loads going on. I can see this easily wiping groups. The only benefit to it is that it's at the start of the dungeon, so when you inevitably wipe and tank your plus 12, you just get some leave after 5 minutes, rather than half an hour. Yay! That's good, right? They need to die at the same time, otherwise we're gonna hurt, and I don't think they are gonna die at the same time. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, he just one-shot me. Okay. Oh my god. Was that the circle, though? Yeah, I think I just did in the circle. Yeah, I did think he got me there. I think I was slightly out of it, but he slightly moved and it went on top of me. So I probably would have just died there anyway. I could have rolled or something, though, so... Please kill it! I don't want to fight this boss again, I hate it! But yeah, you can see, like, the comparative damage. I mean, like, you see Fist of Fury spinning Crane Kick, loads, Slicing Wind, Celestial Conduit, Rushing Jade Wind, as I was saying, it still does a lot of damage. You don't want to, like, really sleep on it, and it's a big reason why it's not a talent that you're going to want to remove. Because it does damage, but it also gives you a lot of energy regeneration. It's one of our biggest energy regens for Conduit. But then now we're at the trash, and this is what I mean. All my cooldowns are up. We have one ad here. Like, so now I'm going to have to hold my cooldowns. Otherwise, it's a complete waste to use them on this one ad. But then the next set is a lot of ads, and oh my god, he's pulling everything. This guy is the tank. He is the one. He pulled everything. What an absolute lad. Wow, that's actually amazing. Okay, ignore everything I said. This is awesome. I love this dungeon. Celestial Conduit OP. Everyone's dead. What, do you guys not have like 10 defensives each? Unlucky. Reroll Windwalker. That is also one of the great things about Windwalker, is that we have loads of defensives on relatively low cooldown. We have a defensive for magic, a defensive for just general. We have a defensive that gives us health. We have a constant heal that a lot of people like don't actually use. Vivify is really good. Whereas someone like a hunter, what do they have? Like turtle. What else? Just turtle. They might have one other defensive, but Windwalker's okay. He just ran into everything and died. Cool. All right. Oh my god, it's gonna be one of these dungeons. Maybe press defensive before you run in. I think it helps. He's just gonna die again because the packs, yeah, with healers, yeah, just gonna die again. Yeah, you need to pop a defensive before you run into an entire trash pack. Not flaming, it's just it's just funny. But it's a little bit like, why? It just makes me think of Retail when a tank just straight runs in. So now everything's casting. I don't really know what's going on. I imagine I'm probably stood underneath something that's just going to one-shot me. Dude. The shaman's not happy. He's definitely going to leave. And, yeah, he died again. Oh, I get that it's PTR. Oh, yeah, group disbanded. I get that it's PTR. But, like... And you're meant to test things, but, like... You testing, like, pulling an entire pack like that. Like, you... Oh, it's just painful. Oh, my God. What the hell is a Gav Gav? 10 Gav Gav. What does that even mean? Yeah, I'd like to go over the damage numbers and kind of hype up Conduit the Celestial, but that's a really bad, like, example of what it does, because we killed one boss and a couple of ads. Slicing Winds, though, I can talk about that. Slicing Winds should always be your third highest damage when you run Conduit the Celestials. It just does a lot. You're constantly pressing it. It does massive AoE, and it does about the same amount of damage as Crackling Jade Lightning does. You'll also notice that Spinning Crane Kick and Fist and Fury are a lot more competitive with Conduit the Celestial. Couldn't really tell you why. I'd have to have a proper think about it. They just are. Just accept it. Why am I not being accepted into Gav Gav? Oh, I was really hyped there. I saw a full group and I was like, yes, my time is now. Fine, a Motherload +6. I'd like to... Oh, no. That group filled up really quickly. Not quick enough. I managed to get in. Snuck my way in. This is the first rogue I've actually seen on PTR. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 hunters, but also not very, like, prominent. How do I get to the Motherload from here? I can actually fly there, can't I? Nope. No, I cannot. Okay. This is a Hearthstone angle. I'd like to actually finish this dungeon to get an idea of what it does, because like the other 2 dungeons, they've changed a fair bit in them. Necrotic Wake has quite a... Necrotic Wake? What am I talking about? Necropolis? No, not the Necropolis. We'll get there in the end. Theatre of Pain. Theatre of Pain's had quite a lot changed to it. A lot of bosses do different things, so if you go in there expecting the dungeon to be exactly how it was in Shadowlands, you're going to be in for a big surprise. Yeah, Theatre, we got there in the end. Oh no, my brain's turning to mush. Could you tell that I've streamed 3 days in a row? I've enjoyed it though. I really enjoyed doing raid testing streaming. Predominantly because that's what I enjoy the most. I enjoy raiding the most. It's my favorite form of content in the game. Mythic Plus is fun, but I'm always a raider at heart. Something about 20 people pumping into like a boss that's like really challenging and then defeating it. And optimizing like how you can like perfect like how you play that boss every time. It's just really fun to me. Whereas Mythic Plus, I feel like it's different every time you run it because you're running it with like a different group comp. Different tanks do different pull strats. I don't know. Like, I don't mind Mythic Plus, but I definitely prefer raiding. What was this? Motherload. Did TOP get harder? See, I'm not the best person to ask about that because I didn't remember the dungeon at all. I remembered that the only thing I remembered is when they pulled us into the one boss pulls you down and 2 of you have to fight. But from my understanding, what people in the group were saying, they were saying like some of the bosses were way harder compared to what they were. Like there were more mechanics. Just from like listening to what the group were typing in party chat, they were not happy at all the new things. So probably yes, harder. I'm gonna imagine that it is harder than what it was. The biggest difference for all these legacy dungeons, as well as Operation Mechagon, I think that also has had some changes to it. I couldn't tell you what they are because I don't remember any of these dungeons, which is kind of a good thing. But the TLDR is if you're like really familiar with these dungeons and you ran them about 100 times and you know everything that happens in them, you're at least going to be in for a little bit of variety. They're not completely the same. They've got a little bit of something different in them, which is good for legacy dungeons, especially ones that are like more recent. Like the Shadowlands one, for instance, which realistically wasn't that long ago. Why? What? This guy... The hunter and the rogue went into the wrong dungeon. The tank told them that you couldn't select Motherlode in the dungeon browser, so you had to say that it was Motherlode under Theater of Pain. And he just typed Chinese characters and left. No idea what they mean. But, yep, that's rogues for you. Theater's much easier. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I don't remember it enough to know if it was buffed or nerfed. All I can go off of is what the party was saying, and they were not happy with the changes. Personally, I didn't think it was like the hardest. Like, it seemed fine. Like, it wasn't. I didn't think it was hard or easy. The boss just felt like they had mechanics, if you know what I mean. Like, they just felt like boss fights. like there was nothing like too crazy about it. No, Necrotic Wake was basically the same. Yeah, that's true. Necrotic Wake was basically the same, wasn't it? Ah, but Grimbatol wasn't the same, was it? Yeah. Can you imagine, though, if they, like, just re-release a Cataclysm dungeon exactly how it was? Grimbatol was one of those dungeons, though, where they made changes to it, and they didn't feel good. Everything, like, cast abilities, everything hit like a truck. That was kind of a rough dungeon, I'll be honest. Tank one-shots nerfed. Yes, I did read that, actually. They nerfed across all of the dungeons, I think, that are... all the legacy dungeons, and I'm pretty sure all of, like, the newer ones that came out, they've all been, like, nerfed in some way, but tank busters and stuff have all been, like, changed to not either be removed or not be as hard-hitting. I think that's probably a reflection of the tank changes that came with the War Within. Tanking got a little, well, a bit harder, didn't it? You actually have to pop defensives now. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Siege of Borealis was changed? Yes, it was. And it was only the Alliance side, wasn't it? Which I wasn't familiar with at all, because I played Horde during BFA. These are going to hit like a truck, so... The changes to ordered elements feel really, really nice as well. I definitely got knocked into those ads. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, the ordered element changes feel really good as well, especially for AoE. They might feel a bit rougher in single target, but the fact that you're literally not forced to press Rising Sun Kick anymore to get the cooldown reduction is really nice. You can pretty much do your opener now without having to Rising Sun Kick, and instead use Rising Sun Kick as just a way of reducing the cooldown of Fist of Fury, which is exactly what you want in AoE. So all they did was a tiny, slight tweak to it, and it makes it feel so much nicer in AoE. Defensive cooldowns after puddles? Yes, sir! I pop my defensives like a good boy. I love a tank that knows what's going on, because I sure as hell don't. I'm going to save all my cooldowns for the next trash pack. I think Celestial Conduits... Oh, okay, we're not really pulling these. It's definitely going to be... You're going to have to think in advance about when you're going to want to pop your cooldowns. That is 100% for sure. So, like, if we just pull this one ad, I realistically cannot... Like, I can maybe pop one Strike of the Windlord here, but I refuse to go Celestial Conduit. I just can't justify using it. I'm going to get no value from it. And that's what I mean, why I think Shadowpan will be better for dungeons. Because now I'm holding this cooldown, these big cooldowns for at least a minute. So, you know, that almost is like, you might as well have pressed them. So it's going to be that toss-up, really. I didn't get to use it there again because the ad just died too fast. If I Celestial Conduit there, I'm just losing the entire resource of it, so I'm going to have to use it here. But now, because of how you use it now, you have to strike at the Windlord first, and because this dungeon level's so low, like, I'm getting so little value off of these ads. So, for lower keys, I'd really be surprised if you'd ever run Celestial Conduit in them. If you want to play them, like, optimally, like, to get as much damage as possible out of it. Like, obviously, run what you want, whatever dungeon you want. But it's going to feel worse to play Celestial Conduit in dungeons where things just die. Charge Claw? Oh, God. This might be a bit cheesy, but I just want to say that I very much appreciate your content. There's not many Windwalkers and WoW content creators as chill as you. I might play Windwalker in 11.1. Oh, thank you for saying that. That's not cheesy at all. I really like that I help a lot of people, and that my content has been, like my guides and stuff have just been really helpful. I mean, that's probably the best thing about starting this YouTube channel. I mean, at first I was just going to post like Mythic Plus dungeon runs, you know, and some raid bosses, but then finding a way to like actually bring out guides and stuff, and I've got a lot of feedback that they've really helped people, like help people get higher score and stuff. I mean, a higher score than me, right? And that's like, it makes me feel like good that like I'm not just like playing WoW and just posting like recaps of a Mythic Plus dungeon, you know. I'm glad that my content helps and people find use from it. I haven't posted many YouTube videos recently. I've been mostly focusing on live streaming though. I do plan on posting quite a few more videos. I think the issue at the moment is that the videos, PTR videos are really awkward to do. We didn't pop the bombs. PTR videos are really awkward to do. One, because raid, for instance, there's no point me posting my PTR raid videos. One, because the bosses can change, but two, we didn't down anything. So even though I learned like a fair bit on how to play the fight, I can't really post a raid video guide on a boss if you haven't downed it. Like, because then you haven't seen the whole fight. Like, how can you say, okay, this is when you want to be popping this cooldown, that cooldown? So I've focused a bit more on live streaming at the moment, especially the PTR. But I think once we get back into the new season, Mythic Plus runs, boss guides, and stuff like that are going to become a lot more prominent. So I know I have slacked a little bit on the YouTube video side of things at the moment, but it just seems like it makes more sense to stream the PTR than make the videos for it. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. That's really kind. Basically, in my mind, when I make a guide, I think, I've watched a guide on something before, and I never understand it. So in my head, I think, okay, how could I make a guide that I could understand? And like, I'm not the brightest tool in the shed. So as long as I can make a guide that I understand or works like for me, then I'm happy that it'll help other people. Because you're all a hell of a lot brighter than me, I'll tell you that. Bombs! Bombs! The football boss! Bombs in the back! Oh, shit! No! Buddy, you have to kick that. Oh, we're dead. We're so dead. Yeah, but streams are nice. It's quite interactive, even more than videos. Yeah, no, that's true as well. I've enjoyed that a lot. I think my favorite part of streaming is actually being engaging and talking to people. I really enjoy just like having conversations while I play the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing Windwalker, but like just talking, speaking about the class, just generally having conversations and interacting, making a lot of mistakes and having people just like laugh at you. It's just funny. I'm getting a bit more like, at first, like, it was quite like, I'm not gonna lie, it was like a nervous thing to do, right? Streaming it's something I've never done before. Like, is it gonna go alright? But I think as like I've been doing it a few times now, I'm getting a little bit more confident. Getting a little better. If I say so myself. I don't know, maybe I'm not. Let me believe I am. Let me at least believe I am. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And realistically, there's going to be quite a lot more streams in the future. Currently, I'm streaming 2 days a week. This week was kind of an exception. Predominantly because of the PTR testing, and I wanted to do those with raids. But as we get into the new tier, I'm probably going to be raiding pretty much... Well, yeah, I'm probably going to be raiding pretty much mostly every day. I think we're doing like 5 days a week, which is kind of crazy. But we're trying to push for a high Mythic Plus, high raid high raid rating this tier. Buddy! What was that? Guy just took a free kick and absolutely skied it. We are doing this with no DPS. And I am playing Conduit the Celestials really poorly right now. This is another one of those instances of, is Conduit really good in Mythic Plus though? Because there's so much you have to do movement-wise. You get knocked back as well. Like, trying to find a good burst window is really awkward. Like, now, I can't be popping any of my burst because I need to go and kick footballs. And realistically, from my thinking, you're going to need about, like... Hello, football, please. You're going to need at least, like, 20 seconds to do, like, the full Conduit burst window. Like, easily 20 seconds. 5 days a week. Easy cutting edge. Yeah, I mean, we're going for Fame Slayer. So I think I only joined this guild, this tier, like at the very end when they'd already killed Ansarak. So I got my free Ansarak, thank you very much. But I was going to kill it anyway, but that's besides the point. So I think they got rank 80 this year, which is really, really good. So I managed to get into that guild. So I'm really happy about that. But it just means a lot of WoW playtime, which is good for streaming. But it is very full on. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. But there's like, there'll also be the situations where I probably won't be in for every boss. Just from PTR testing, it looks like some of the bosses might just be better for ranged. And when you're pushing like a high rating, like whatever, top 50 or whatever, you really want to have good comps. It's not to say like you can't bring certain classes, but sometimes ranged is just better. And like, you can't justify bringing too many melee to a fight. It'll be interesting though, because I've never done splits before as well. So I've done splits, doing splits for the first time. It's why I've had to make alt characters. I absolutely hate alts, but I'm doing my part. So this is what I mean. Like, I'm still like barely started my burst window right now. It's really kicking off now, but he's about to spawn footballs. So at what point do I stop my burst window to actually do the boss mechanics? Whereas if I was playing Shadowpan, my burst window's already over. So now I've kind of lost an entire window of slicing wins and everything. It's just kind of awkward. Oh. Who knew, though, that this fight feels a lot nicer when all the DPS aren't dead? That's pretty crazy, right? That's revolutionary. You remember me talking about Demon Hunter? Are you planning on having that as a ranged ult? No. So, like, my Demon Hunter is diabolical. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Mostly because I've barely played it. I just don't have time to really play an ult like that. Like, learn an entirely new class. Like, I work a day job as well. So, like, all my time really streaming or making videos kind of is fully put towards Windwalker. But I needed 2 ults to do splits. So one of them is another Windwalker, surprise, surprise. But I didn't want to like just make 3 Windwalkers because that's a bit like, what's this guy doing? So I made a Demon Hunter. Yeah, but no, I probably won't have a ranged class. That would just be it's too much to learn, and like I wouldn't want to go in there like. I don't think that like my range would be best. You're better off having another range, I think. I'm not very good at ranged classes. Like, I barely put any time into them. I think I leveled a Warlock once. Like, you're much better having someone in the raid that's played range before, if that makes sense. Okay, those come in really fast. But from testing, Windwalker seems good on pretty much every boss so far, except for the one that maybe looks more range focused, but at the end of the day, it's PTR testing as well, so maybe things will change. It's just the way you had to do the fight seemed like really awkward. Like, you had to basically have players like stay back at previous locations and stuff. So if you're like a ranged DPS, for instance, that's going to be fine, right? You can still damage the boss. If you're melee, suddenly you're not damaging the boss for upwards of like 20 seconds at a time. You're having to hang back. The boss is the other side of the room. No ads to hit. It just felt really, really bad. Potentially it might not be so bad on live, but just from initial, like, ideas. 20 range DPS seemed like the way. 14 range DPS seemed like the way. You'd probably go like a Mistweaver or something for Monk buff, and potentially a Warrior tank, but I don't even know if you have to go that far. I just think it's more about the range being able to do the mechanics without losing DPS. Because when you start a mythic tier, like, DPS is everything. You want the fight to finish as fast as possible. Which sounds like obvious, right? You always want the fight to finish as fast as possible. But, like, at the start of the tier, that's even more, because your gear's lower. You need the fight. Healers are actually having mana problems. Oh, this is the first Shadow Priest I've seen as well. I have no idea if that's good or bad damage for a Shadow Priest. No flame, no flame. I did not just pop all my cooldowns on one ad. I thought there were like 3 of them. Was I looking at the ones in the water? Okay, it's not too bad actually. I kind of remember this boss coming up being horrible. Am I correct? Like, doesn't he spawn like little mini like ghost dudes? I don't like. It's such a phasey memory of what this boss does, but I remember not enjoying it, which is never a good sign. But spawning ghost dudes doesn't quite sound like the only mechanic of this fight. I'll be honest. Yeah, I have a faint memory that, like, he's a rock guy, isn't he? And he has little ads or something, but then he spawns rocks as well. I just can't remember what he does. Can you tell I've done my research for these bosses? The only thing is I researched with the raid bosses, because going into the raid without knowledge was... Nah, you can't do that. These dungeons I don't mind learning on the job. Doesn't bother me. They follow you around. As a healer, it was horrible. Ah, so it's a Ring of Peace angle. Save Bloodlust for first fail. What? That's not very positive. Oh, you meant to use these fracking totems. Am I crazy in thinking these have a use here? Place a fracking totem which incapacitates your current target for 1 minute. Yes, you do. You frack the earth rages. Oh my god. There's too much. Just kill it. It's fine. It's +6. He'll die. He'll die. Oh, damn. It's new. What do you mean it's new? See, I wouldn't even know. I just assume kill the ads, right? But I have got a fracking totem so I can CC one. But it looks like we don't want to do that. It's an ad management fight. Okay. I'll pretend like I know. Oh, you can't target them. Wait, what? No, I can't target anything because I got a fracking totem in my hand. Okay. There I was thinking like, whoa, this is crazy. I can't target anything. These ads are like immune. No, it was literally because I had a fracking totem in my hand. I couldn't cast anything. Can't we just nuke everything? Does that not just work on a +6? Are mechanics even a thing on a boss like this? Can't I just offensive? Yeah, you can just offensive one-shot stuff, right? Okay, repeat. Okay. Okay. I love that. Okay, repeat. Just one-shot everything again, guys. Roger. Roger that. I'll get right on it. Bad news, though. I've used all my cooldowns. We like pinging. Oh, he just died before the mechanic came in. GG. Is that like a good GG? Or like a you idiots, GG, well played? We nailed it, and the Shadow Priest pumped. I have no idea what any of those abilities are, but good job, buddy. And the Hunter's pet did all the damage. Yep, classic Hunter. Maybe a little bit of an oversimplification, but whenever I look at Hunter DPS and it's just their pet, all I imagine is they don't press anything, they just send their pet in, and it just hits stuff for them. Obviously they press buttons, and it's a little bit of an oversimplification. Imagine they put Sanguine Depths in the dungeon rotation. Delete that comment. Don't give them any ideas. We don't want that one. Absolutely not. Oh, that dungeon was horrible. I remember the part of that dungeon when it was like a trial. What do you call that? It was like a gauntlet. That's it. The gauntlet near the end. That was just... Whoever came up with that needs to reflect. I remember you'd get that in your keystone and you'd just be like, right. Well, I'll see you guys next week. That wasn't too bad. Oh, pulling more. Okay. Oh, this is the perfect time for me to have my cooldowns, but I just don't have them. Psych! What the hell's going on? My screen is so bright right now. I kind of had my cooldowns, I just didn't have, what's it called? Celestial Conduit, Celestial, whatever you want to call it. That was kind of a little bit awkward. I think I'm kind of understanding why this might be better for Raid than it is for Mythic Plus. I just think the biggest issue with it is trying to line things up and getting like the window's just too long a period of time. I mean, maybe the alternative is to just scrap Strike of the Windlord initially and just go for the Conduit, then Strike of the Windlord, but then you lose the Gale Force damage, but it significantly reduces the amount of time you're in your burst window, which means you can actually line things up a bit better. I don't know. It's going to need a little bit of thought. It's fun, though. Like, I love being hasted all the time. You were playing healer in the Gauntlet of Death. I bet you loved your DPS. Yeah, where you couldn't get out of combat, exactly. Yeah, absolutely horrendous. And I played a rogue during that, so I couldn't re-stealth or anything. Like, Vanish was all it felt awful. I hated that gauntlet. It was the bane of my existence. This is a space management fight. She will do a fan sometimes, which allows you to fan away puddles. Okay, I do remember this one. She frontals you, doesn't she? She's the one that says, I'm calling in the bomb squad. Or is that, that's it? Another one. A lot of them say that. I'm calling in the bomb squad. Don't stand in front. See, on a boss like this, it kind of feels alright, actually, to, like, all these cooldowns, like, because you're not being kicked out of stuff, you're just constantly focusing the boss. So, my burst window works perfectly for something like this. Hey, don't... Get off me. Like, that felt so nice, because I managed to get the entire thing off. But for pretty much every other boss in this dungeon, it's felt pretty bad. But mostly ads, to be honest. Mostly the ad packs, it just feels really awkward. Oh, we're just running over this, are we? Does it hurt? Oh my god, it hurts. Yeah, decent. About what I expect. It's hard to judge, though, because it's a 6. So obviously, like, it says 2 million damage. You look at that and you go, that's not a lot of damage. I do more than that on retail. Yeah, it's because we're scaled. So it is a little bit harder to tell. Oh, this Windwalker monk's only doing 2 million damage. What a joke. What's going on? I see a lot of damage icons at the moment. Is that bomb coming towards us? Thing said moments before disaster. Once again, Celestial Conduit's up, and it's like kind of up when everything dies. I won't lie. I just got one shot by what? Who knows? A mine. Okay. Okie-dokie. We should do higher key. Okay, now this shaman's talking my language. It's too easy for him. This is a joke. He's like, we should do a higher key. Get me out of this. 6. Ugh, I spit on 6s. Yeah, these bombs, they come up, don't they, and just run at you. I wasn't really paying attention to them. Although they don't... Yeah, okay. I was about to say, they don't seem to care, but now they do. Can you just CC him? Nope. UnCCable. You can damage them, though. Cool. Wait, no, the Bomb Squad boss is Iron Docks. I think the new Operation Floodgate also has, like, a Bomb Squad line that I literally thought was from this dungeon. It's the two... What are they called? It's the 2 boss, the one where there's 2 of them, and she's like, I'm calling in the Bomb Squad, or something very similar to that. And I was like, they've just ripped this line off of another dungeon. I do like goblin voice lines, though. They are. They have some of the best ones. Oh. So this next boss is how I imagine Gallywix is going to go. It's going to be a massive head flying around and just casting absolute chaos. Could be wrong. Oh. I somehow snuck past that? Let's do it again. You're not meant to run over him. What? Okay. I'm seeked and destroyed. Oh, no, no, no. I'll have you in stitches. Yeah, they've got some great voice lines. I don't even know why I was doing that. I was glancing at chat as I ran towards that. Oh my god, my brain is mush. What's another good voice line? Like, shark bait. That's a good one. That's one me and my friends always just say forever and ever now. Don't worry, buddy. I got you. Look, I saved your life. Now you owe me your life. No, wait. Don't target me. Me want them souls, Pom Sandy. Is that, That's... It starts with da. That other side? Is that the other side, or is that the other one? Has he had 2 dungeons? No, it's the other side, isn't it? Is it? In middle phase, you need to aim rockets at towers. Yeah. I like the other side. I thought it was a cool concept. I do remember it. I completely, like, kind of ignored what this guy just said. He kind of explained the tactics. All I read was aim bombs at the other side. That came in so quickly. Like, I could have rolled out of that fine if I knew it came in that quickly, but, like, a ranged character, if you're stood in the middle of that, you're dead. If you're the priest and you're stood in the middle of that, you're not getting out of that. That comes in so quick. That was... Yeah, that was crazy, dude. And it's random as well, like, they don't all blow up at the same time. It seems to, like, be rocket circles, but it'll, like, different ones will blow up at different times. So it's a guess out of there as fast as possible sort of thing. There've been a few of those, actually. A few of those mechanics in these legacy dungeons where, like, the explosions, the circle will come in and within, like, under a second, maybe a second tops, it will, like, explode. Run away from rocket. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paladin. I will do just that. I will run away from the rocket. Noted. But yeah, this is like kind of, in my head, this is how I imagine Galliwick going. Just an absolute mess, this flying mech thing. Shooting down rockets and lasers, and I can't really imagine the fight going any other way. Oh, get out the circles. I popped Celestial Conduit, I'm so greedy. Run! Oh, that comes in so fast. That's actually insane. That came in faster than last time. And I had the movement speed buff from, thingy. If you're like the priest, you're literally dead. You cannot survive that if you're in the middle. Like, I barely got out of that. And I had movement speed buff. I might, provide feedback on that, actually. I don't often provide feedback. But, like, that comes in so quickly. Like, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not too bad once you know it's coming in. So, like, now I know it's, like, going to be that fast. But I still think someone like a priest is never getting out of those circles in that time. Ever. They can put a feather on the ground all they want. They ain't getting out of there. Oh, no. That was instant, right? That was... That was instant. That... I'm not crazy. That... The circle spawned and I died. Yeah, that was... I instantly popped. Yeah, I'm gonna feedback on that. I don't even know what they're called. The... Micro missiles. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, okay. I think that's justified. Retract my statement where I said a priest can't get out of that. A Windwalker monk couldn't get out of that. If the circle spawned and I died. Yeah, the Paladin's just talking about like the Gatling gun killing people. No, that I don't think he's noticed how fast those come in. That was a blink and you miss it. It might be a bug. Yeah. I think it's either a tuning thing, like they've tuned it in that way. I don't know if it's a bug. I mean, you could argue that you could say it's a bug, but I'd say that's maybe more of just a feedback thing. Like maybe like some of them come in super slowly, right? Which is fine, but some of them like do not. So maybe you're right. Maybe it was more of a bug actually. Now I think about it. Because I thought they all came in really fast, which would be that they've just tuned it poorly. But the fact that some of them spawn instantly and others don't, maybe just mean that it's something spaghettied in the code. Oh! See, that wasn't too bad. Okay, what you do now? This is the rocket phase, isn't it? This is where you've got to do something. It's a really good description of this fight. You've got to do something. Quote me on that. Oh, you've got to aim the rockets at the thing, yeah? Did I do it? That didn't seem right. That didn't seem right at all. Oh, you've got to aim the boss at the... Oh my god. There I was trying to line up this guy's buster shot. Oh, I'm so cooked. I had good intentions, right? My intentions were pure there, like, line up this ability. I knew that you had to do something with it. That's the completely wrong thing. Ow. Am I gonna bleed out? I might. Oh! Alright, I might just pop everything early here. I can't really wait for Storm, Earth, and Fire to come back up. Oh, can you not blow that up on me? I'd appreciate it. I'm already getting blown up by everything else. The one thing I ask is to not get blown up by my teammates. Ow. No, I'm dead. I wasn't Dragon Punched at the wrong time. That. The moment I saw those circles in my animation, I knew it was over. Yeah, those puddles are so fast. They should kill him. Yeah, he should die here. But yeah, look at that. Like, you see like how fast those instantly pop. I don't know if it's based maybe on where these guys are, and maybe you actually just have to pay attention, but... I mean, that could be it, right? It could just be that they come in faster from where those guys are. But yeah, even so, like, someone like a priest or something, if you're in one of those circles, you are screwed. So maybe it's not a bug. I don't know. I'm flip-flopping a lot on if that's a feature or not. But yeah, overall, not bad. Don't worry about the deaths. We'll ignore those. But yeah, slicing wins, not too high. I mean, I think that's going to be the issue with Conduit, is that it feels really good when it goes right, but when you don't get the perfect burst window, like your 20-second perfect window, where everything is just pure damage, nothing's knocking you away, it kind of is rough, and that's why I think bosses might be a little bit better, because you have a lot more, like, uptime for damage. Like, think about an opener on a boss, right? You get into raid, and you start on the boss. For, like, a good 10-15 seconds, that boss is doing nothing. It's just how all bosses are roughly designed these days, right? They barely do anything for a few seconds, and then they actually start playing the fight out. So usually you get a really nice opener, and then maybe 1 minute 30 in, you'd find out another, like, nice window. In M+, it's a little bit rougher. So yeah. So I think maybe Shadowpan might be the way, but I'm not giving up on Conduit. I love it too much. I think it's too fun to not. But I am going to be calling the stream here, guys. It is a little bit earlier. Oh, I mean, I usually end them at around 8 my time anyway, so about 10 minutes early. A little bit cheeky here, but I'm a little bit tired after streaming for 3 days in a row. I know, streaming, very tiring, but my voice is getting a little bit hoarse. But no, I think we've had a good 3 days. PTR bosses have been fun. I'll beat Buggy. I wouldn't mind them releasing another set of those PTR bosses, at least the ones that like you couldn't even do the fights on, just so we can get more of an idea. I think that would be really cool. If they do, is, you know, debatable. Otherwise than that, it'll be another Wednesday, Saturday stream next week, 4 PM UK time, GMT, whatever that is in your region or zone. I don't know. Same time as whatever it has been, basically. But yeah, hopefully I gave kind of an idea of like the big differences between Celestial and Shadowpan today. So if you're like starting to get into Monk, or you've been playing Monk for a while, you can kind of get a bit of an idea of how the two are shaping up to look and what's going to be better in what situation. But yeah, I think the TLDR is that Shadowpan is not going anywhere, but Celestial the Conduit actually is going to be part of our build next tier, which is really exciting. I'm very happy with this talent. And on Wednesday, it should be all of the dungeons released, if I'm not incorrect. I'm it's either all of the dungeons or at least like a select 4 of them. So it won't be the I don't think it will be the legacy ones if it is just 4 of them. It'll be the other ones with Operation Floodgate attached, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to double check. Either way, there'll be a lot of dungeons to run through. And I'd like to try out the War Within ones again, because I only managed to get to try them for a day, and they were all super tuned. Like, it wasn't even fun to play them. All the bosses were just one-shotting everybody. So I'd like to go back in there and actually try out those dungeons. That'd be fun. But yeah, I'm always really awkward. I don't know how to end a stream. So I'll just say thank you for watching. If you watched for the whole time, wow, amazing. If you watched for 1 minute, wow, amazing. Thank you very much. For anyone that engaged with the chat. Oh, no, we're not starting. For anyone that engaged and like talked through, thank you. For anyone that didn't talk at all, like appreciate you watching. Like it's really nice. Just to speak to you guys, show off some Windwalker, and just have some fun overall on this spec. But yeah, thank you. Anyone that subscribed, anyone that's been here. Yep, it's really awkward. I'm just gonna end it now. Thank you. Jesus Christ. This guy needs to stop.